right, everybody ready? Let me turn these tunes down a bit. And we're switching over to a brand new layout. What's good and welcome, everybody. It's your boy Vex, this is Lurking Legend. Y'all can just call me Vex. Thank you for once again showing up to another wonderful session of the Scarlet Pirates Group 2 of the One Piece TLA D&D stuff that we've got going on. Sorry, my dog is very vocal right now. But yeah, make sure you guys like the stream. Make sure you check out all the wonderful links in the description of all of our crew here, as well as the other One Piece D&D TLA crews and just TLA in general. They're the goats. We thank them for putting this all together, and make sure that you guys are ready for a juicy one tonight. We're actually not going to be getting into the continuation of the Scarlet Pirates story. We're going to be focusing a little bit on past events today. So we're long overdue for a recap stream, and we said we were going to try to get these synced up with the SBSs that you know, when the volumes do release. And I didn't even know that 109 SBS was going to drop when it did, whatever I scheduled for this one. So that's a happy coincidence. But so enough from me. Let's go ahead and hear it from our wonderful players who are not going to be playing tonight, but just kind of going over the good old days, the glory days, the whole past over a year, over 100 hours worth of content that we'll be kind of trying to like catch up on through the newspapers and the cover stories tonight with you all in chat. To start us off, let's go ahead and the long-awaited, this is technically the second intro for this individual, but we want to introduce the wonderful Strawhatlucas, captain of the last arc, joining us today. What's going on, brother?
Hello, guys. I'm Strawhatlucas, captain of the last arc. I play Julian Casacasa, also known as Cece. Ooh, very mysterious. Can't say much about her yet, but yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is awesome. I'm still very surreal to me.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing good.
Glad to hear it, brother. Next up, let's go ahead and spit it to, we have our brother in arms. We have Lord Vegeta, aka Ragnar, aka the Gate Guardian, aka like 30 other nicknames, who plays Lord Azrael with us. How you doing tonight, Ragnar?
I am happy I made it in time. Chat, you don't know this, but I literally just got here like 10 seconds ago. I was so worried. I was 1 minute I was in traffic, next minute I was home, and before I knew it, I was like, oh, it's 5:03. Okay, I've heard it. I'm here. Shout out to Straw Hat for finally being a part of this. We've been waiting on you for months. Y'all don't notice, but behind the scenes, we've been waiting on this guy to join for months. So I'm glad he's here. Yeah.
No, for real. I'm so
Really
sorry if you could hear my nephew shouting at the top of his lungs in the background, but absolutely what Ragnar said.
Is he cranking 90s?
He's feeling some type of way, but absolutely what Ragnar said. Cannot agree more. I've been wanting to, I didn't want to shoehorn you into the campaign, and we'll go over some of the behind the scenes magic that has been worked in the past couple of, I think like 3 to 6 months. There's been active like kind of like plays, but again, I don't want to be like this Machiavellian string puller who like it's an open world, it's a sandbox, and so we got there finally, and it feels great. Next up on the crew, though, let's go ahead and introduce our Helmsman himself. We have a brand new DM who, if you guys have not checked out his sessions already over on Strawhatlucas' channel, you absolutely must. We have who plays Davos, Torimori, aka Mikey D. How you doing tonight, brother?
Yo, great to be here. I'm feeling great, excited for our recap session ahead. It's always great to play, but kind of nice to just come and hang out and reflect a little bit on everything we've done, because yeah, we've been doing this a little bit now. It really has been sinking in lately.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
Thanks
for the shout out. Yeah. Thanks for the shout out as well to Group 14. We're on a bit of a break stretch, so plenty of time to hop on over to Strawhatlucas' channel. Now my fellow Scarlet Pirate as well, and the captain of the Sakura Pirates over with Mikey's Men 100 Years in the Past. Yeah, plenty of time to catch up on those VODs. Also check out my channel where I'm getting started on those episodic cuts of our sessions as well, if you want to digest it in a different format. But yeah, great to be here tonight, guys.
Absolutely hype. 100% recommend it. I recently just caught up myself, and now TLA Gaming is no longer on Thursdays and is happening on Mondays. I was just there yesterday, and thankfully there's no longer a huge scheduling conflict on that part, so I will be able to be vibing in the chats every single session going forward, and I'm so excited for that. Next up, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, always living the dream. We have Partypete, who plays Bang D Boom. How you doing tonight, brother?
I am indeed still living the dream. Also eating some spaghetti, but
Hell yeah,
very happy to be here. You know, excited to have Lucas on the crew. I'm sure he will add to the wonderful antics that we get up to. So, like I said, it's been a long time coming. So very good to see that, and have a little recap session. You know what I'm saying?
hell yeah. And then last but not least, we are joined by the first mate of the Scarlet Pirates crew himself. We've got the frontline combatant of the last arc, NoChill Dill, playing a NoChill D-Ill. No relation. How are you doing, brother?
Yo, doing pretty good. How's everyone doing in the chat? Hey, I see you in the chat. Yo, we got Oz, the Phenom in the chat. Hi. Shout out to my crew. Much love as always. Shout out to Lucas we finally made it. We finally got to you. We found you.
Get much higher.
Here.
Shout out to W Helmsman, aka Boom Boom Bow.
Oh my god.
Man.
But yeah, major shout out to all of the wonderful individuals in the chat. I see y'all. Make sure you guys like the stream. We appreciate you guys coming in. I know we've had quite a bit of a body of work over the past year, lots of sessions that might have been missed, and lots of people who maybe didn't stick around for the cover stories and newspapers that I do sometimes at the very end of the sessions to try to make sure that you guys do stick around. I know not everybody's available to do that. So today we're going to be focusing a little bit on, some of the bigger broad stroking events that have happened, events that have happened over the whole campaign so far, but also some of the underlying details that are like, all the waves that have been made around the world, not specifically involving the Scarlet Pirates themselves. Where we did last leave off, just to get you guys kind of like on the same page as us, is we are now on the civilized south half of an island that they were just crawling through the treacherous wilderness of for a very long time. After thoroughly exploring many parts of the red sand desert on the north half of Live Neal in the North Blue, they have survived, put an end to like a full ass natural disaster that has been persisting for centuries, and took on a gigantic sea king, and lots of stuff has happened, and they sailed through centuries old mountains that were formed by two islands colliding many moons ago, and they have now ended up on the southern half of these two islands, which are now claimed as one territory, now they are out of the Wild West and through like with the desert crawling and the survival like fight for your life type of stuff, fighting against apex predators and bounty hunters and rival pirates and things like that. And now they are in just like basically like a gated community with like some college towns and some like orchards and like they're at a library right now. Huge change of pace. We're going much more social with it, and it's been an interesting change of pace for me as well as I'm sure a lot of the players. And here we had met a somebody who tends the front desk at this library known as the Chateau de Papier, an individual named Cece. And at this library, they were checking out a few books, and they would be able to get a little bit of a beef up on recent and current events and things like that that are happening around the North Blue, as well as maybe around the world. As the last thing that most of these people knew of was the execution of Gol D. This story has taken place 24 years in the past of current One Piece time. So this is about 2 months after Roger's execution. And everybody and their mom is becoming a rookie and trying to gun for the Grand Line to be the first person to find that final island, claim all of the wealth, the fame, and the power that was left there with the world's greatest treasure. So that's, in summation, what's been going on, but we can get a little bit more into it. I just wanted to shoot it to the players really quick, if there were any other like major events that they wanted to shed a little bit of light on that the chat here might not necessarily know. We're not just gonna go like fully in 100% chronological order because I don't want to just read for like an hour, but we'll just kind of be like pretty lax with it and stuff like that. So if you guys had any questions, we'll just do a little bit of open forum for now. And if you guys wanted to stick around for a little bit later, I will be going over each of the World Economic newspaper entries, as well as the cover stories that have been ongoing for over the past year now within session. But chat, if you guys have any questions, and crew, the folks here in the call with me, if you guys have any questions, feel free. Like, we'll go ahead and spit really quickly.
I just want to clarify that my character has ended 2 natural disasters.
No, you have survived one of those.
I have ended 2 natural disasters. A sandstorm and a tourbillon.
This is false.
Sandstorm, I think, kept going, and the tourbillon, I think, still exists.
No, both of them ended.
So the tourbillon was a crew effort, and the sandstorm definitely kept going until like you passed out, and after you passed out, it was still going. You did not fight victoriously against the sandstorm, Dill. You survived a sandstorm.
I still love that shit, bro. I still love that shit.
Okay. Hilarious. That's actually an event that is not on this YouTube channel, and that is a part of the Void sessions, as we refer to them. As with our large body of work here, over 30 sessions that we've done so far, and over 100 hours of content, some of it SBS type content like this, some of it actual gameplay. That's not even all of it. There were a few sessions before Pete joined the crew long ago that were on a different channel and that we don't actually have full access to. We still gotta get with brother Ragnar and maybe start like set up like a watch party in my server, link in the description sometime eventually. But life's been hard. it's been difficult to coordinate and just kind of maintain regular Tuesday sessions. So maybe on another break week, like we're kind of doing this week, we'll do that instead of a session, just we can make sure that we all have the time available. But brother Lucas, Strawhatlucas, I know you have been waiting anxiously in the wings for quite some time now. Is there any questions that maybe your character would immediately have, or maybe just things that you as a player would like to know about the crew that you don't already? I know you've been attending, in the chat in the sessions for quite a while now, but I just wanted to give you the spotlight for a moment.
Oh yeah, I definitely think Cece is going to be interested in what went down in the north half of the island, especially being part of the island she's never really seen. She's never got the chance to brave the elements up there herself, so I think she's definitely going to be curious about what all went up there. And she may be curious to know if you guys know anything about Shivers, because Cece is under the impression that he's missing, and there might be some stuff to that, but I can't say. redacted.
He's missing something, all right.
Oh my
was
god.
The nonchalant Rick burp.
Oh my goodness. Hilarious. But yeah, I don't know how talkative they would immediately be with you, except for Davos, who is actually somebody who's from the south half of Livneal and actually lived at the exact same orphanage that you once lived at as well. There was a point in time where Cece was changing Davos's diapers. We will not elaborate on any slanderous nicknames or anything like that. He is to be referred to as the W Helmsman. Do you hear me?
Fake news. Sorry, folks. Sorry to report it.
I can't promise that.
Oh my god. He said fake news. Cece's just like,
Listen,
his boobs were huge.
Yeah, like, no, listen, we thought he had a medical problem. That's how bad they were.
No, they were big and healthy and normal. In the realm of normality.
We'll get used to it.
That's why they were called boom booms. They were fireworks.
Oh
Yeah,
my
can I
god.
send a letter to Big News Morgans to change the name of the
Wild. I mean, Morgan's doesn't put the names on the bounty posters, I don't think.
No, I feel like he can make it happen.
The Marine.
He
Wow,
might
I mean,
could.
without a bounty.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Hey, what does that mean?
Yo, shots fired over here.
Hey, what you mean by that? What you mean by that?
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Oh man. But
Sounds like there's a hotline.
Speaking of bounties, if everybody kind of wants to sound off really quickly of their known bounties within the story, we do have one player who is missing tonight. Hopefully we'll see them in the chat, or they might pop in the call here in a bit whenever they have some time freed up. But we are actually not joined by Balincc, who plays Captain Scarlet, the actual like the future queen of the pirates herself. So I will go ahead and say their active bounty that is currently known within the knowledge of the party, which is 35 million. Quite a sizable first bounty, if I do say so myself.
I hate that you said that, by the way.
Said what?
These are their highest bounties that they have, to their knowledge.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's your bounty at, brother?
At a cool 100 mil.
Oh,
Brother.
a cool 100 mil, says Dill. That's actually crazy. And we're not gonna spend too much time on that because the crew still doesn't actually know why, if I recall correctly. And then we have the W Helmsman. You recall what your bounty is?
I have a fair enough 27 million. Pretty good.
27 million, not bad at all. And then if let's see, we've already established that Bang D Boom, Pete's character, does not actually have a current known bounty. Then we have brother Ragnar.
Bounty is 0 berries.
Oh my goodness.
What you mean, 0 berries.
All right. I want you guys to imagine me in a white coat with a bald head and a baby in my hand. $100 billion.
Okay, that's not true. That's actually not your bounty. But
Now, if it was that case, he would be like the Caesar clown of that. So it'd be like 30 mil.
I would just like to respond to Dill's comment about my bounty and just let him know that his bounty is only that high because of the cost of his parts.
That's crazy.
Hey, I would like to disagree. There's two reasons why it's that high, but neither of them have been mentioned.
I'm an expert on the cost of materials. I'm telling you.
Hey.
Listen, if it's any consolation, Pete, Cece as a character would give Bang the highest bounty possible because she thinks he's priceless.
What? When priceless he is indeed.
That would still mean his bounty is 0. Hold on. That would still mean his bounty is 0.
Oh my god.
Don't grab it.
See, okay, so the thing is, I have 2 bounties. I have 1 bounty in the blue, the blue planet, and then I have 1 bounty somewhere else. So
Mysterious.
added up together.
Okay.
Hold on.
We said
Hold on.
known
That means
bounties.
we can't go to one of the 2 necessary destinations. Hold on, I don't like this. What? the fuck?
No,
I'm just kidding. I have a 30 million bounty. A 30 mil. I had like, what was it, like 8 mil per arm, and then the rest was me.
Well, is
Oh
that
my
true now?
he still has his 4
I
arms.
mean,
It's
those
just
are-
that 2
yeah,
of
but
them
those are-
don't work.
Yeah.
So if you
Luke,
lose,
correct
arms,
me if
your
I'm wrong,
bounty-
but
does your
those are
bounty go down?
dead arms, right?
Well, you have to understand, Pete. My epithet when I had that bounty was 4 arms Azrael. So
That's
now
true.
it's kind of
I
like,
feel like it should go down. That's what I'm saying. Like,
see,
Oh
I
my-
would also think so if
He's,
If
he
there
said,
weren't,
no.
like-
Pete said, slide me some of that notoriety. Like,
I need some of those arms.
I will say, neither Julian, Casacasa, or Cece has a bounty.
Wait, what's the difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference?
what's in a name?
You weren't listening hard. Yeah, what's in the name? What's in the name, Dill? You weren't listening hard enough during her introduction.
We were just talking about Shakespeare in the call before this too. I'm sorry. But where else would we get bounties if not for the World Economic Newspaper? And in my canon, we have started as if Roger's execution took place in very early September, which can be loosely confirmed because of the length of Porcus de Rouge's pregnancy term with Ace and Ace's birthday. We know that Roger was actually executed sometime around September, so that's what we're going with as the starting date for around like what incited a lot of our people to set sail. Yo, shout out to Cuba the Red Sea, shout out to John Sherrod on all social media in the chat. What's good, fam? We love to see it. So the first issue of the World Economic Newspaper that was actually released, this was before the session properly, like the sessions properly started. I'll go ahead and read right now, which is released on September 1st. And the papers are released on Saturdays in my canon, so this is a Saturday date, if you're keeping up. But big news! The public execution of the Pirate King announced. The Golden Lion captured. Folks, as you all surely know, some time ago, the Pirate King Gold Roger was recently captured by the Marines and is set to be executed later this week. The public execution is to be held at Logtown in the East Blue, the birthplace of this heinous criminal. He is being held in Impel Down, the world's most secure prison until then. This news upset a prominent rival, the fellow Emperor of the Sea Golden Lion Shiki. He stormed Marineford by himself, and it took the resourceful General Admiral Sengoku as well as Vice Admiral Garp, the hero of the Marines, to defeat him. He is now also imprisoned in Impel Down. And another issue that happened 1 week later, right at the start of the inciting events, was the newspaper that kind of shook the entire world, if you weren't able to actually be there and see it. But on September 8th, it was published. Big news! The Pirate King's execution turns the world upside down. Folks, the public execution of the Pirate King Gold Roger was held earlier today, and we are the first to cover this massive event. Moments before the execution, a member of the crowd asked Roger, "Where is the One Piece?" And in response, the Pirate King's final words were as follows: "My treasure? If you want it, I'll grant it. Search on. All the world had to offer, I left in that place." Rumors have already spread about where and what this treasure could be. Who will be the first to reach the final island and claim the One Piece? And I feel like that's kind of like what set a lot of things in motion as far as the start of this campaign. Some individuals were a little bit oblivious to this, but I know for one person in particular, our W Helmsman, Davos, this was the paper that got him to set sail in the first place. Is that correct?
Well, it was the broadcast execution in the town square. Everybody was gathered at the port vestibule, and he was so drunk afterward that he ended up kind of joining up with the first pirate crew he could that would take him. He was so inspired, he wanted to set out and find the Grand Line, look for what Roger found, and maybe find the One Piece one day.
Hell yeah. I feel like that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for you, as you had already found like a bit of discomfort in this like little snooty capital city of a royal kingdom that is world government affiliated, and they were just trying to like prim and proper themselves up to the world government to the point where they might eventually get invited to the Reverie, which it is actually a Reverie year this year. So everyone's like, super uptight and trying to brush all of the ruckus under the rug and whatnot. And I feel like this was just kind of like the last straw for you, where you decided, like in true Midwestern fashion, I hate this town, and you joined up with a ragtag group of rookies who were also starry-eyed and on their way to what they thought was the Grand Line, Reverse Mountain, as a lot of rookies are after hearing of Roger's execution. And this group of pirates was called the Crackerjack Pirates, and you were taking the helm. Then what happened?
Well, sobering up was a rude awakening to... I immediately realized my mistake amid a terrible hangover. And Vex, maybe you can help me out, actually. I do remember Vice Captain Gumo, but who was the captain? What was his name?
I don't believe we got a name, but Gumo was the individual. You just met these individuals. You might not actually remember in character Davos, which is the funniest thing. And also this group that's famously this group is famously terrible at asking people their names. I will also say that. How many sessions went by before we got Scrub Daddy's name or Harry's name, or like, they were, rest in peace to Scrub Daddy, by the way. But in his stupor and recovery from just a massive drunken state, Davos had the whole crew had confidently set sail thinking they were going to Reverse Mountain, which is a straight shot from the southern port of Livneal where he was positioned. They had actually been carried by the tide almost directly into a calm belt. In fact, the only thing that saved their life was a gigantic 11-foot four-armed creature plummeting from the clouds above and absolutely decimating their ship. And that would be the entrance of Lord Azrael, Ragnar's character, who just very quickly not only saved the life of, but also ended the career of all of the Crackerjack Pirates, presumably.
Immediately, one of Davos's best friends in the world.
Slowly became Ezra's best friend over time, but he definitely liked Davos more than everyone else.
He's like, I'm not a human fan,
fair.
but you're
Davos
cool.
Loved you for freeing him.
So at that point, the remnants of the Crackerjack Pirates, as well as their new friend, just the most aggressively placed hood ornament you could ever imagine, Lord Azrael, who tanked their ship. They were all beached on an unknown island and experienced just like mirage like visions, and there was not proper like hydration or nutrition or anything like that. And after very roughly piecing together out of all the scraps a sailing vessel, they had tried to set sail and ended up being lulled into a nearby cove by the sound of Balincc sake playing in the distance. And this was actually a trap, and they were lured into what it was known as Davy Back Alley, where the Hardy Pirates, or the Hardy Boy Pirates, were led by the Captain Collector, challenged them to a 3-coin game. And they, under Captain Gumo's leadership, actually ended up doing pretty well. And this was where we met the now Captain Scarlet, who is actually a stowaway on this vessel, that after a few rounds of absolute hooliganry, I think Lord Azrael, okay, yes. In the what was it, the donut race or whatever, the W Helmsman truly showed how uppercase that W is, like bold, like 24-point font at the very minimum, like absolute W Helmsman there. And there was even like mid race repairs that were made. There were some fish friends that were ready to be implemented into the fold and whatnot. But after like a well fought first round, there was a second round in which Lord Azrael actually kinda, showed up and like absolutely faced off with and now crewmate Softy Boy. They didn't know his name at the time, and upon winning, they took that person who is the vice captain of the Hardy Boys, or the Hardy Pirates, which is like a crew full of captains. The Captain Collector himself literally just brought, he would win Davy Back fights with countless crews and steal their captain. And so his crew was made of nothing but previous captains. And this was the only vice captain amongst all of these like individuals. And come to find out, after they take the vice captain from Captain Hardy Boy, the Captain Collector, this was his son, Softy Boy. In an absolute jaw-dropping moment. It was hilarious. If you weren't there, it's not on my channel, I'm so sorry. But again, we'll try and figure out a watch party.
I guarantee you one day that's going to come back to bite us in the ass. I'm just saying.
I think you said that then. I literally think you did. And then in the third round, it was Captain Hardy versus Scarlet in a music battle, and Scarlet just absolutely insulted the shit out of this man while he tried to play the saxophone. He had a cool metal arm that he could like take off and turn into like an electric saxophone. It was really cool. And Scarlet just insulted this man to the point of him going fetal and crying on the deck of his ship in front of all of his crew and whatnot, and he just had his son taken away from him. And yeah, haven't we all? And thus the Scarlet Pirates were born, as Vice Captain Gumo of the Crackerjack Pirates said, "Fuck this, y'all are crazy, I'm out." We're past the 35-minute mark. I'm not worried about language at this point, but it was hilarious. It was such a crazy first session.
Mistake.
Okay.
He could have still been rolling with us. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, he's still out there.
You said Captain Gumo?
Vice Captain.
He was vice cap.
Oh, I think Cece knows that name. I'm joking. She is.
Fair. Like, if you guys remember that situation, we did almost everything. I'm not on purpose to convince him not to want to join us.
It's true. They did.
Like,
it was terrible.
Like, we were just so awful back in the beginning that he was just like, yeah, I'm staying a mile away from all of you. And that's basically what happened.
We haven't even gotten to the true heights of just how heinous y'all's behavior was back then. But at this point, we have Davos, Softy Boy, another stowaway, Harry, or he was like somebody who was captured in one of the Davy Back fights. But they didn't ask his name at this point, so they didn't know him. And also, I believe Lord Azrael would not call. Yes, there was Scrub Daddy and Scarlet and yourself.
Scrub
and
Daddy.
Yeah, rip to the goat. But you did not refer to Softy Boy by his name for I think 7 sessions.
No, I did not. Yes, because I see. Softy, in my head, Softy Boy wasn't officially like a part of the crew because I didn't even join the crew at that point. And I was like, how could somebody that I want in the Davy Back fight be a part of the crew, but I'm not? So it's like,
And it's at this point, we've kind of gone over like the full like first session, like that was in the void sessions and whatnot. And we've recapped it a bit in the past. If you look at like session, I think 4.5, we talk about it. But to anybody who's just now tuning in to my channel, and we have a lot of new viewers, just watch this one. It's probably a better quality than 4.5 was, but we've come a long way. At this point, I would like for 2 harmless rolls from all of my crew here. If you guys want to hop in the roll 20 really quickly, I'm gonna need a D100 from each of you, if you wouldn't mind. That would be great.
Let's go.
I can actually roll some dice today. Oh my god!
How
yeah,
dare
brother.
You say 2 harmless rolls, and you started off by saying, "Yeah, chuck a D100 out for me." What?
Don't worry about it.
There's 100 options. They gotta be.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be fair,
harmless.
there's really just 2 options on a greater scale.
No, there's many more than that, actually. Trust me, bro.
Right, you're
I
a
just
glass.
didn't know if it's like, all right, you either get highs or lows.
Well, you can roll a 1d2 for that. That's cool.
So we have 29 from the W Helmsman, a 40 from Ragnar, who did not roll a fake 100 this time, a 39 from Brother Dill, a 2 from Pete. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And an
like
84. Place, that's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for the captain because everybody loves when I roll their dice for them. Give me just a second.
Right. I think we established before the lowest number wins, right?
Yeah, is that what we established? Okay.
I definitely think that Scarlet's Bardic would apply.
I don't actually. Shout out to Balincc and to the Will of Dreams in the chat. Appreciate you guys for showing up. Okay, so harmless. We'll figure out what that means maybe next session. But also I'm going to flavor this as you guys Cece's on break. You guys get back to her crib at an orchard, and maybe you guys are sharing a bit of a drink and going over like some stories and whatnot. I'm gonna need constitution saves from everybody. At least everybody who drinks. I know Lord Azrael does not partake.
Cece get down on that liquor.
Oh, she'd be hitting the
I
sauce.
did it once with the crew, and that's when we did our first all crew joining together thing. That's the only time.
The W Helmsman. What the?
Yo, 2 crits!
It's just a second session in a row with back-to-back crits.
Let's go.
Oh, yikes.
You'd
Still.
love to see it.
We getting
No,
twisted.
that's not a yikes. That's
No.
actually perfect. What do you mean? This is what we've been waiting for.
Oh my goodness. What I will say is, Dill, go ahead and get rid of that exhaustion. It's been long enough. Enough time has passed. You are cleansed of the exhaustion.
Let's fucking go.
And then I need to see, so I got Cece. Scarlet is now going to roll 1. Give me just a second to get that done. One of my roll 20s crashed. But yeah, this is
Like she should have advantage on him.
Cactus juice. Yes. This is the straight up
I
the
think she would
sauce.
be drinking cactus juice though.
You guys wouldn't have that much, coming. It's not
I gave her a
easily
water skin
harvestable.
on before we came through here.
Yeah, and she drank a whole bunch of
Speaking
it at the
shout
school.
out Captain in the chat, Balincc.
Bro, you
No,
can
it was full whenever I gave it to her because I don't drink the cactus juice.
Bro, you can always rest easy knowing if you're not here, Dill will finesse some extra dice for you, bro.
Dill will try to get maximum charity from me every single time.
Right.
Not bad.
Just throw a D4 on there.
Like-
you know, like, hey, you put a D12.
That's
You know,
what
for
Scarlet said in the
fun with
tone.
it.
She was like, if I'm a drink, it's going to be cactus.
I don't think that
I guess you would.
I don't think that the captain would turn down a fresh, nice beverage if offered by Cece. But yeah, so while you guys are like recanting stories and whatnot, Dill is absolutely overindulging and is probably not going to remember any of this, and also might say some shit that he might not normally say.
He can't hold his breath off.
Hey, it's been a minute. You guys were in a bit of a dry spell there for a while, and not to mention, you did also have a drink on the carriage ride over, Dill. So maybe that explains a little bit of why you've already loosened the pickle jar, a little bit or whatever.
I also got some pocket rum as well in a flask.
Pocket rum is crazy. Holy shit, bro.
Cece would also have some pocket rum.
Wild.
Think about it. All I gotta do
She
is
works
get
in the
back
library.
to
It's
refill
boring,
it.
okay?
You're not wrong. You got like a
Wait,
hollowed out book.
Are you wanting some of mine, or do you have your own pocket rum?
I have my own. What do you
Okay.
think this is, Tin Man?
Tin Man is
Hey, I was
crazy.
trying to share.
So
Hey,
everybody else is feeling fine. Davos, Bang Boom, you guys are buzzing, but like you are like completely on top of your game right now. The drinks are flowing. You guys are just having a great time. The captain is, 1 or 2 sheets to the wind, but not quite 3. You know what I'm saying? And Cece, you are also kicking back quite a bit. Dill is actually already faded.
Gone.
Like, yeah, like
How's that song
and-
go? I'm too faded, I can't even dap you up. I got some ice in my motherfucking cup.
Are you
but
faded enough to map me up, though? Let me see that map.
oh my god. So
What map?
after the events of the first session, there was a voyage that could have gone terribly, terribly wrong, but thanks to the Helmsman not being completely wasted and being about his wits and whatnot, he did not sail you guys directly into a calm belt, which absolutely could have happened. He could have also sailed you into what is referred to as the Fool's Sea, which is restricted waters and people believe is cursed. So that's pretty spooky. He did in fact sail you guys into the Coolwater Cove on the north half of Liv Neal, where you guys landed at Port Delphina. At that point in time, there were other headlines hitting the news, such as on September 15th. Big news, the dawn of the Golden Age of Piracy and the race to the end of the Grand Line. Folks, it seems that after the news of the late Pirate King's treasure hit the world, it has sparked the beginning of a new era. More rookies are taking to the seas and forming pirate crews than ever before, aiming to claim the wealth, fame, and power that the Pirate King has left in his wake. These are truly unprecedented times, and we urge you to try to stay safe and be on the lookout for rookie pirate crews trying to make a name for themselves. Like these Scarlet Pirates, they're not to be trusted. We immediately, as landing on Liv Neal, pick a fight with the bar owner, the one guy who's got regular booze connections, and in turn, the entire town full of upstart pirates, of bounty hunters, and they actually had a visiting marine presence, such as Captain Shivers and his trusty trainees, his recruits, his entourage of some very, very capable individuals. So it was an all-out brawl for, I believe, over 2 months IRL over a collective, I want to say 15 hours in session time across several weeks was spent just trying to unfuck up this terrible situation. And they did get a level up from it. That this is also what granted most of them their bounties. This was also where they met Brother Dill, who rode in on Shivers' boat as a stowaway.
As a proper stowaway.
A
Didn't
proper
even know I was there.
So that was crazy. And that was so many sessions, and we had difficulty scheduling and things like that, so we had to miss things and whatever. Like that was like the first several months of the campaign was the Calvaria bit, where they had the Davy Beck fight and some of them met. And then upon getting to Live Neal, the north half of Live Neal, just absolute chaos ensuing almost immediately. It was hilarious. For me, it was kind of a nightmare, but then it became really funny. And then it became a nightmare again, and then it was funny again. So, but none of that is actually on our channel here, unfortunately. But that catches us up to what events do transpire here at the start of session 1 of the Scarlet Pirates on my channel proper. Does anybody want to say anything else about the whole first bit? There's a lot that we did in the whole like all-out brawl of all of Port Delphina, was formerly known as Port Delphina, now branded Port Scarletta. The whole town versus you guys, and then the Shivers fight and things like that.
I just want to say I'm glad that's not how I got my bounty, because that was ignorant foolishness watching it. And don't get me wrong, extremely entertaining to see. But you know, Bang D Boom personally,
who got their bounty from that?
Oh, not Dill. That's
most
true.
Like, most of you.
Okay, here's the crazy part. I will never forget.
I was hidden.
I will never forget that I was minding my business, sleeping on the back of this boat, and these people right up on me started shooting me, bro. I was heated.
It's true. It was hilarious.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That was great. Like, he wasn't even invested in the Scarlet Pirates outside of the fact that he had just been reunited with his long lost brother in arms. And Dill was trying to.
Like, it took place like 5 minutes before that.
It was simultaneous.
It was like I had shown up to the crew, had like introduced myself, and then not even 5 minutes later we went down to the bar, and then that whole incident took place.
Oh yeah, and you guys learned about the absolute trip that Cactus Juice brings you on, but I don't think Captain Scarlet had her first taste at that point. I think that was a few other individuals.
That was the first time we met Zora and
Sonya.
Sonya? Yeah.
Zara and Sonya.
Zara and Sonya.
Yeah.
Didn't y'all leave Sonya in a cave?
No. Oh, you sweet summer child. The first meetup
got packed up.
The first meetup with them. The first meetup with them was them puffing up their chests and being like, we got bigger fish to fry. They didn't have bounties at that point in time. At least Dill did, but they didn't know that because he's a very stealthy man. And this was pre-Shivers. Post-Shivers, they met up with them again. This is actually in session 2, I believe. The bar fight was Sonya and Zara, which was an all-out, I think, like 2.5 hour, 3 hour rumble. It was crazy. This person was throwing out Rashomons and blocking all of their biggest shots and stuff like that, and like Tatsumakis and Onigiris and stuff like that. Right before she fell, Zara ended up throwing out like a full Ashura.
There was a third guy. There was a third person. He was a big dude with a bazooka. I don't know if you remember that.
There was a third guy. I thought there was a third guy.
No, there was a third dude, and he had a huge bazooka. I don't remember if he left with them or he stayed, but that I never saw that third guy ever again.
Oh, he might still be out there. You remember they had gone out to some monster hunting quests in the White Sand Desert. You guys never touched the White Sand Desert, but that's where Sonya and Zara had went whenever the whole Shivers stuff had gone down. Otherwise, you would have had to fight them on top of the whole rest of the town. But they showed back up at post Shivers as you all learned of your new bounties. New for most of you at least. And
Well,
conveniently
that is
enough,
wild.
conveniently enough, they found out about your bounties as well. That is insane, brother Will. Yeah. But it was at this point that like you guys after defeating them after a very, very long fight, I think it was canon that Sonya she had like 50-pound guns, like weighted guns that she would like pistol whip people with, and also like do like ricochet shots and stuff like that. She was based off of the Romance Dawn prototype version, like the concept of Sanji before he was actually like the cook that kicks and stuff like that. There was like a gunslinger Sanji, and that's kind of what she was based off of. It was gonna be, yeah. And then Kishimoto was like, "Hey dog, can you not?" but yeah, like so this person Sonya put up such a crazy fight going up against Bang Di Boom and Lord Azrael. She got a crit and hit Lord Azrael in the face so hard with like the clip of her of her pistol that it actually knocked Ragnar out in real life. He actually fell asleep. IRL.
I want to say, after I came back, I went after her like a dog chasing a rabbit, but she kept teleporting. I was like, stop teleporting!
Dude, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
The worst part is, afterwards, as soon as I caught her, I didn't even kill her. I was like, because back then I was ruthless. I would kill almost anybody, but I didn't. I took her trigger finger, which is way worse.
Yes. So he took her trigger fingers, and then Zara was rendered swordless as Dill collected on her swords. One of which is a Mato grade sword. It is a named blade, but neither of them are aware of the name of that blade. So that's interesting.
Until now.
No, we're not getting that yet. You'll have to get that in session, brother. We're not doing that in off screen. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Who would do that? Like name a supreme grade blade in an SBS. Cough cough Oda in 109. Like, no, I'm kidding. And also, yours is not a supreme grade. But
naming a warlord in SBS.
What? No, but that's not my style necessarily. But yeah, you guys had absolutely put some shame on these ladies. It wasn't until much, much later in a completely unrelated bar fight that they would meet their eventual demise after crossing the crew, because money.
Right. Traitorous wenches.
They follow the bag. It was something you should be able to understand.
Yeah, but they didn't want to follow our bag.
Right, they picked wrong.
Y'all lost how much money over this past arc? I'm sorry.
Hold on.
No.
Get it right. Lord Azrael lost how much money?
Right.
Oh my goodness! But
Bang Di Boom is keeping track of that debt. I hope you catch a fish.
At this point, I'm gonna need yet another round, please, of Constitution saving throws. I'll make one for the captain.
So,
I
say that failing my last one, I decided to go all to the wind.
Yeah,
and
Davos, our luck has run dry.
Yeah, that's
the pendulum swaying the other way. Yo, my lowest roll tonight for one of the crew is an 18. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Obviously cheating.
Cece's holding on a little bit.
She's trying. She's putting up a valiant effort as you guys kind of recant a few more of your tales and whatnot. Again, everybody is kind of vibing. The captain is doing absolutely fine. Like, this shit ain't nowhere near as strong as cactus juice. Like, Ragnarden is getting their absolute swerve on right now. Is okay.
That's me. Hold on, I can roll one for Ragnarden.
Oh man, no, that's Dill.
Yeah, that's still
So,
6.
Cece and the captain are the only two that are still just kind of buzzing. And I will say that Davos and Bangdi Boom, off of your previous criticals, they will carry you a little bit further. You guys are not completely wasted at this point, but the drinks have been flowing for a number of hours.
Can I recount the tales of my glorious entrance in the Port Starletta?
In just a second. What's up, Dill?
That 9 is Ragnarden's.
Okay, yeah, Ragnarden is hitting it hard, y'all. Go ahead, spit, Pete. I'm sure Cece is on the absolute edge of her seat to listen to anything that comes out of your mouth.
Oh, well,
Yes.
yeah, but it's just you should be concerned about player entrances with Vex, because I thought it was going to be cool. You know, Bangdi Boom, a strapping young lad set out to make his own way in the world. You know, coming from a pretty well-known family of shipwrights in terms of the shipwrighting world, but you know, he's out here to make weapons. But to make weapons, you need a bag. So, you know, I went out looking for sponsorship and was turned away. They weren't receptive of my innovative ideas, you know, because they're old and decrepit. But I guess I kind of stowed away. No, I didn't stow away on the ship. I was just taking the ship to the next available port.
You were kind of stowed away, kind of. You know, yeah. Like you were pretty low profile at first.
Right. I had to kind of get loose because, you know, I gave him a piece of my mind on the way out, but you know, it wasn't anything that crazy. So, you know, lo and behold, some pirates have snuck aboard the ship and taken out the guards and such, and now they're trying to take everything. But you know, what am I going to do? Fight 3 people by myself? Seems unlikely. But very fortunately, there was a nice supply of black powder and you know, cannonballs and such, where they kind of cornered me, and with a quick little sweep of the leg, they weren't expecting the pistol in the leg trick.
Nobody expects it.
Classic, but right, nobody saw it coming. So it blew up the ship. Not knowing that this ship held some reasonable importance to the people that were waiting for it on shore, I did blow up the ship because that seemed to be the most reasonable solution to escape without any further harm to myself. And, you know, swam pretty adept, I might add, for someone with one leg, to the port, and they followed me up, and you know, the wonderful fight that ensued is how, you know, I ran into the Scarlet Pirates and all of their antics.
Hell yeah, that is actually something you can watch.
Did we not paint the town scarlet though?
It was pretty scarlet drenched before you got here, but yeah, that is actually something you guys can watch on session 1 on this channel. It was exactly how we started the non-void sessions, the actual like sessions that you can enjoy right now, was with Bangdi Boom's wonderful entrance, something that I really liked. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you also really enjoyed it, Pete. I want it to be kind of a grand entrance as you're coming in kind of after some very climactic events, and I wanted to kind of keep the ball rolling, but also like be a bit of a good kickoff for this channel. So super glad that you speak so highly of it, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun, and that also set up some plot lines that are still yet to fully be paid off on to this point. I've been cooking for like over a year, y'all. on some of this shit. And at that point, after like that's post Shivers, and one of the first things that happened was you were starting to build a ship for them after they had kind of helped you deal with these pesky pirates that followed you up after you cracked a ship in half. You guys salvaged all of the goods, and you were repairing a bunch of from a bunch of the sunken ships from the Shivers situation, as well as the cracked merchant ship that you were partially responsible for. Lord Azrael helped salvage a bunch of that stuff from the shallower waters of the cove, and you spent, I think, 3 days worth of downtime building a boat, and then we got another bit of news. This is when they found their bounties, and when they were having the bar fight, whenever the bar fight started with Sonia and Zara. And the newspaper that, in fact, kicked all of that off was on September 22nd. Big news, the World Surveyors team departed for different blues. The Reverie is just 1 month away. Folks, the World Surveyor teams are dispatched by the Celestial Dragons themselves to assess the state of affairs in allied countries across the globe. And as some of you may know, their departure so close to a World Reverie means that the guest list is subject to change. With the Reverie so close, several nations have been stated to be in consideration for inclusion, but the real question is, who will not be welcomed back? All we can confirm at this time is the surveyor ships were seen entering the North Blue and the West Blue, which means that we could be seeing several countries not making the cut, and a few new faces this time around. Who do you think will be kicked out of the Reverie? Stick around for further coverage. Just what will we find out in next week's issue? And that came with the updated bounties for most of the crew. Dill's was already a well-established bounty at that point in time, is what we had also found out. But we don't know why. Bang D Boom also did sail in something that he mentioned from Akitsuki Archipelago, which we later find out is run by the kingpin, the leader of the CEO of Tempest Industries, which is a name that is getting bigger and bigger as far as the grand North Blue kind of picture the further you zoom out from Liv Neal. But we have spent a good amount of time here focusing on Liv Neal, and yeah, it was really, really interesting as you guys kind of found a home in the north for quite a while, turning Port Delphina into Port Scarletta and working on the ship and training, and also bonding with the nomads who came in shortly after the bar fight. One of the most popular NPCs came in with the nomads. I think in the recent SBS, almost everybody had said that their favorite NPC was in fact Big Azra, and this was when he was introduced properly. And I'm actually going through and timestamping a whole bunch of our older sessions, and I'm going to be keeping an active tally on exactly how much unintentional damage he has dished out over the course of the entire campaign. It's a pretty big number. I'm just gonna let you guys know that right now. But very, very fun bit of characters were introduced in Baba Mira, Adult Wisney, Russ, Kama, rest in peace, Enid, rest in peace, Samia, and Big Azra himself, and a few of the other nomads who approached Port Delphina, now branded Port Scarletta, after like post Shivers, post the first bar fight with the bounty hunters, and it all just kind of got swept away after that. As you guys bonded, you guys fought some basilisks and got some meat and threw a big cook-off, had a feast. A few of you guys, like Nika, danced over the bonfire, and people got pretty tipsy, pretty wasted, and it was at this point that the next morning that the W Helmsman himself, Davos, and the little sister of Russ, Dalt Wisney, had both gone missing. And this was where Operation Slide for Davos commenced, and the entire Red Sand Desert saga got kicked off, which would be so many of the next coming sessions, all the way up until actually literally just recently. We had spent just a ton of time doing Red Sand Desert related things. We did return to Port Scarletta shortly for a bit, some of us at least. Yeah. Any major standout moments you guys wanted to go over throughout the whole first initial desert crawl when you guys were going to recover Davos?
The fact that we thought he was captured, and turns out we were almost captured.
Yeah, it was really funny.
It was a big kerfuffle.
It was so funny too
Big
because
kerfuffle.
like above table, it was like Mikey was like, I'm gonna not be able to make this Tuesday. Like he told me like a month in advance. He was like, hey, so I'm not gonna be able to make it this Tuesday. But we had already gone through so many scheduling conflicts, and I had just gotten done with like a war with Xfinity, trying to get my internet situation figured out. Thank God I don't have them as my ISP anymore. Condolences to those of you who do. Don't come for me, Xfinity. I was like, I had to cancel so many streams over like 2-month period, and I was finally back. And Davos is like, just a reminder, I'm not gonna be here next week. I was like, we'll miss you. And I had to write like a plot line of like why Davos wasn't there, because torimori couldn't make it, and that spun off so many crazy turns of events. It was wild. Like back then I could not have imagined everything unfolding how it did, based off of me just having to like do a little bit of a creative curveball, you know what I mean? Wild.
Yeah, I loved thinking about it. I never expected it to become this like onion we would just unlayer with the glass house, and eventually, you know, coming to bring that organization down was like so satisfying. I loved the way you constructed that into like punch up in terms of like the combat across the desert, just trekking it there, and then at the glass house itself. Really, I can't believe that's already like good old times now too.
I know, right? It was like 3 months ago that the glass house crumbled. I think over 3 months now at this point, right? Who's counting?
It was in like February.
Yeah, I remember.
That's when I was waiting.
I feel like Ragnar was also like because that was a significant splitting of the party.
March when he fired himself. Yeah, it was like beginning of March when he fired himself into the tourbillon.
I think it was still February, but yeah, it was around that time. So it's been a minute, but yeah, that was crazy. The events leading up to there were hilarious. And this is getting into like, I think like session like 5 and 6 is when y'all first like start sliding for Davos. And then you guys fought the cactus guy. You guys fought the rust guy. And we're like seeing some devil fruit users, these bounty hunters, this ring of bounty hunters, the glass house, which were, you know, the nomads were told to stay away from for a very long time. You guys made some quick work. There's some crazy fights, you know, going on through all of that, and then survival and just like foraging for sustenance with the help of the nomads. Which, if you guys did not bring the nomads with you, how different would this story have been? You know what I mean? Like, you probably would have had so much
on the way back.
Yeah, that's true.
Slide from Davos and the glass house.
Yeah, they were absolutely clutch. But then Davos.
Would the birds would have been different? It would have taken us 3 weeks to just go just not even both went back and forth just to get to the glass house.
Oh,
and 3
yeah.
weeks getting back.
Y'all's travel time was cut in half, and getting lost was not necessarily an option, and you were saving off exhaustion just by traveling with Russ and Samia. Like the two of, because Russ is a tracker and Samia is like an herbalist. Just the two of them alone, not even accounting for the clutch pulls that like Big Azra and Dalt had also contributed. But just because of Samia, exhaustion was not a thing while you were traveling with them. It was only afterwards where we did have exhaustion become a thing, when the crew did split for a bit. And traveling with Russ basically cut your overland travel in half. And he was able to like make sure that you guys didn't get necessarily lost. And in nighttime, you couldn't be lost with Dalt because she can read the stars and stuff like that. So like it was so clutch that you guys did not actually burn it down with all of the nomads, just with Baba, you know. But yeah, you guys fought the Rust guy and the Cactus guy, and that was separate from Davos and Dalt Wisney. While Dalt Wisney and Davos had ended up having a run-in with Erwin, who was like the Beast Whisperer, you know, much like Dalt Wisney themselves, but she was able to overpower him. Davos being the pacifist that he was at the time, and I guess just seeing so much of the carnage that unfolded at Port Scarletta, and maybe not wanting to like add to the body count, left Erwin alive, which would prove to be a mistake. But he did notice, he did notice the landslide that was caused in the fallout of the Rust user collapse, dropping an entire cliffside on the other nomads and the other Scarlet Pirates. It was huge. It was crazy. Is it the first or second time you guys had a cliff like collapse on you guys? I don't remember.
That was the first.
Okay,
Because
cool.
the second was whenever we made it to the temple and the rest of us split off, and me and Azrael found the ship in the sky.
That was a whole nother different side quest. Shit that could have never happened if Dill wasn't trying to like chase a balloon that he saw. Like, oh man.
To this day, we have no idea what was up with that balloon.
I do.
No, to this day, Dill knows.
Balloon, you say?
But to this day, Dill has not said anything to Lord Azrael.
Wild.
I don't know if y'all remember, but while we were on the ground level, I crit succeeded the perception to see. When we were at the sky level with the bird, I also crit succeeded the perception.
Wild. But yeah, you guys spent a few days crossing through some treacherous terrain, fighting some foes that did not even do anything wrong to you specifically. But Erwin was pissed off after getting shoved in a barrel, and these other people were like, oh, look at you guys, wanted people, and we are bounty hunters. We're about that bag. So like, yeah, it was just like a wrong people, wrong place, wrong time, bad situation, complete misunderstanding. It was hilarious. That ended up evolving into this whole saga. Eventually Davos and Dalt Wisney raced towards the crumbled site that they saw from afar, from the fallout of the Rust users, like final like flash moment. He had a whole Majin Vegeta moment trying to take y'all down. Didn't even work.
Nope. And
Davos eventually reunited with the rest of the crew, as well as Dalt Wisney with the rest of the nomads. It was huge after what felt like a really long time back then. And we were all finally reunited, and I guess you guys were like hell-bent on taking down the glass house at this point, because the captain just be choosing violence. A few of the nomads were really injured, and some of their weaponry was completely damaged, including the first greatsword owned by Captain Scarlet. You guys did spend quite a bit of time doing some little side quest stuff, like focusing, like messing around at the temple, where you did recover an ancient map. known as the skeleton key. In like it's mythological. People don't even actually believe that it exists. It's like oh, that's bullshit. People just say that. People are making it up. But you guys did come into possession of it. And you also chased clouds in the sky and saw the red line from afar after flying on top of a rust-winged falcon that was tamed by Dalt Wisney up above where the Walking Mountains shaded the horizon. At this point in time, I am going to need everybody who is going to continue drinking to make another Constitution save, please. Huge.
We're so back.
Before I make this roll, am I cooking during all this?
You probably would be prepping and do it. You don't have to continue drinking. You can choose to stop right now. But everybody who is going to continue to drink, go ahead and make a save.
I have to reload my
I'm
character.
vibing.
Yeah, you guys are all doing pretty well. Dude, this could be huge though if Dill fails. I'll say the captain. What do we say? We say the captain's still vibing, still drinking. Do I make one for Balincc?
I'm saying the captain's still vibing on cactus juice.
I mean, you could say that. Okay, everybody but Dill does
We're all
really
doing
well.
good. Yeah.
Except Dill. And I think at this point I think at this point in the events of the crew drinking with Cece, this might be where Dill actually lets loose the fact that you actually are in possession. You all are in possession of the skeleton key. We'll see next session how Cece will react to that. Upon, like, she might think it's a joke in the moment while you guys are getting like absolutely wasted. When you get back to clarity, Lucas, your character will have that knowledge and you'll be able to react to that. But for right now, we'll continue on with the recapping. You guys,
for reference, it wasn't from the temple. It was from the ship in the sky.
It was not. It was from the temple. It was in the well. You got a different map from the ship in the sky. But you were already in possession.
It has the same layout as the other one.
It doesn't have the X on it, though. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, the skeleton key, or what you all believe to be the skeleton key, was in fact recovered from the bottom of the well that Ragnar's character had spent so long trying to figure out how to get all of these crazy cacti out of it without disturbing them. Because crazy cacti, whenever vibrations are sent up their stalks, launch their needles out and send out like very strong, very potent sedatives. But yes, that was exactly where it was found, in a treasure chest at the bottom of that well. Where there was an aquifer underneath, which was why the cacti had grown to the lengths that they had. But it was at that temple, I guarantee you. There were other things that were found on that ship, such as a very interestingly colored cannonball, and some sploosh, and some ancient sake from hundreds of years ago, and a an eternal pose. To where? Who knows? But it does point a little bit northwest from where you guys are at right now. Those were all the things that were found on that ship. But you guys had progressed further and ended up finding a little bit of a hideout, a place to rest, a little like hole in the wall, almost quite literally, a cave. Approaching the tip of like where the tourbillon and the King's Coast meet, almost in sight of the ocean. You guys had found a little place to rest, and this is where you guys met Holly. what a wonderful person she was, brother. And she was a recent
Babbling Brook. Okay.
a recent escaped prisoner of the bounty hunters who was worth a fat 70 mil, and who could not stop yapping about money and treasure. And she was a world record holding, like basically like an Olympic swimmer, one of the fastest, you know, that there ever was to swim the seas. She was a mermaid. And she made fast friends with Lord Azrael and instant enemies with Brother Dill. It was pretty hilarious. And she
controls the water. She's my enemy.
She had just made plans with you all to salvage the tourbillon, and split the treasure with you for what she hoped would be 50-50. Actually, she insisted it would be 60-40 at first, and it ended up being 60-40 the other way. Although Dill wants to insist that they agreed on 70-30, which they did not. And no,
so that's why we won that explosion game.
That was 60-40, trust me. So there was an agreement that was made that if the glass house was dealt with, that she would help you all salvage the tourbillon. And so this was more incentive to deal with these fools. And but upon camping out there, Davos, who was on watch, had heard a jingling of some chains. You guys fought Novus and Orion after Novus was on his last legs. This was a user of a chain devil fruit and a scorpion zoan, which were insane fights. Loved those fights. It was crazy. We got a Cowabunga 2, like probably like the 30th time that Lord Azrael had fallen out of the sky. It was huge. And you guys actually kept
to do the voice right, but it was huge. It was massive.
Huge.
You did it like we were supposed to
do. Oh my goodness. So this is also where obviously Bang D Boom was there. Pockets were run, and we got some unique weapons, like some hand crossbows with daggers, like like winged out from both of the sides. There is some poisonous elements to the fight that some lesser restorations had to be used, and some antitoxins had to be whipped up, and it was we almost lost Alt Wisney. That was the first time she almost died. Maybe the first time. Did she almost die against Erwin as well? No, yeah, I think this chick has been reckless for a minute now. But she has
almost died during the alcohol fight too.
That's also true, but we're not there yet. But yeah, that was yeah. She's had her 3 strikes. She's a very lucky individual at this point. But after defeating Orion, the second in command, and his trainee Novus, you guys were basically on the front footsteps of the glass house. There, you guys had formed a plan on how to infiltrate, and Bang D Boom, who was thankfully at this point bountyless, was able to approach with several individuals in chains and attempt to turn them into the glass house as a fellow bounty hunter.
Ragnar in those chains.
Oh my
When
God.
Ragnar walked up in those chains, oh my God, dude.
It was crazy.
I wish we had art for that, because I think that was probably low key. People don't realize how much of a big deal that is. But for me, I knew like this was like tethering on character moment.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And then with the infiltration,
Bang D Boom enjoyed every second of it, by the way.
I loved the buddy cop element that you guys kind of had, where they took interest in Ragnar's character, Lord Azrael, as a fishman, as they had just lost Holly, and she was meant to perform a critical role. Well, no, I can't say that. shit, that's probably trademarked or something, right?
A critical point.
She was an
Crucial
essential,
point.
an essential or crucial element in their plan to salvage the tourbillon themselves. It was interesting that they took a liking to Lord Azrael's character and invited him in. Bang D Boom escorted him in while they had Big Azra and the rest of the nomads up at the cliff top prison that they were holding, which was where Holly had escaped from. And through where Holly had escaped, Davos and Captain Scarlet actually figured out their own means of escaping and inciting a whole little riot up there, while Dill had snuck around, and then Rocky B came crashing in. It was like this huge affair up there. But while all of that was going down, we had, what did I name them? It was like Winchester and like Wesson or something like that. It's like two gun names. Like, I don't, like, it was the two dudes who kind of like escorted you guys into the glass house like left you guys unattended and were like, wait here, we'll get the boss. And then you guys obviously like ran the pockets of the entire glass house in what was one of the funniest sessions. I loved the buddy cop dynamic between Bang D Boom and Lord Azrael. It was hilarious. Bang D Boom got blinded like looking into the gigantic like cannon, telescoping glass cannon, and then we ended up getting into the fight with the kingpin, the absolute beast, the terror that was Malcolm Gilroy, the leader of the Glass House. What an insane fight. You all would have absolutely lost if it weren't for some big brain plays. There was very little chance of escape, and I had a minefield and a death laser ready for if you guys did try to run, but you didn't. Lord Azrael punched through the floor, caused serious structural damage. Dill succeeded on like 7 consecutive like stealth checks or whatever to not get pulled down towards the ocean and stay up above. And like, yeah, it was an insane series of events. And then Lord Azrael decides to grab Davos and jump back into the ocean, the canal leading to the ocean underneath.
If you don't mind, I'd like to jump in on this. As an audience member, my man, when you guys were fighting Malcolm, I had to leave in the middle of your battle with Malcolm, and then when I jumped back in for the next session, you guys were all, except for Dill, in like the ocean, and Malcolm was floating like face down.
Shit was wild. What a fight, though.
It was so good, man.
Yeah, it was through blood and poison that they were eventually able to actually leave like some scratches on him. Poison that they had actually gotten from his second in command, which was hilarious. They plummeted him into the ocean, and he is no longer with us. But he was a glass Logia user, a extremely competent combatant that could have easily dealt with all of them if they had stayed in that one room. And there were, oh man, what a crazy, like, dude was like able to take like layer actions and like has like legendary resistances and immunities and shit like that. Like, what a cool fight. This was one of my favorite fights as a DM, because I did not know how you guys could win, but there were methods of you all surviving. But like, I didn't know if winning was actually something that was within the cards. And I was ready for like a whole prison break arc or something after this, maybe, or him chasing you guys through the desert or something.
Vex, have you ever seen that episode with Batman when him and Flash and the rest of the Justice League were captured, and he looks at Flash and says, "You're the one person I can predict, Barry." That's Lord Azrael.
Batman is Vex. And
Batman, you are Batman, Vex. You have a plan for everything. But the one person you can
Stop
the
your
X
heartbeat.
factor in your chemical X in the Powerpuff Girls origin is Lord Azrael.
Yo, Absolutely
Vex just looks
crazy.
at Lord Azrael. Yo, stop your heartbeat real quick. Why? It'll activate the sensor saying that you died.
Oh my goodness. But it was at this point that you guys did also see yet another newspaper where you guys had read on September 29th, so about a week had passed. It was supposed to be like a 2 or 3 day desert crawl that ended up turning into so much more events and whatnot. The big news: the 5 families of the West are at war. Missing merchant ships in the north. Germa Kingdom is expecting an heir. Folks, what a wild week it's been across the globe. We've seen increased tensions in the West for some time now between the 5 families, and this week a shootout occurred at a business owned by the Lucianos. We heard rumors that there were no civilian casualties, and it was a targeted attack on the Lucianos' second in command, Romano, who is overseeing affairs while the boss recovers from a mysterious illness. Retaliation is all but guaranteed at this point. But with the surveyors patrolling the West right now, marine presence is at an all-time high. Things could get nasty. In other news, we've gotten reports that several merchant ships and 1 marine ship have gone missing near the Fool's Sea. Ferrum of Tempest Industries is suspected that someone was targeting his shipments until the Navy confirmed that one of their captain's flagships and crew have also gone missing. Commander Everett is launching a full investigation into the matter, but Captain Shivers has been out of contact and missing for over a week now. A memorial service for the entire crew of the settlement will take place at Portmanteau in 3 days' time. Seems that Tempest Industries is interested in funding the investigation, opening the door to more trade between Livniel and Akatsuki Archipelago in the future. In other news, in the north, Germa Kingdom's royal family are expecting a baby. They're keeping the due date private, but by the look of things, we should be seeing the birth of their firstborn in 2 to 3 months' time. Make sure to catch the next issue for more details. So it's at this point that it has become apparent that the Shivers shit is being covered up. Their bounties increased, so the government is somehow very aware that they are responsible for some serious crimes, but the Scarlet Pirates are not being put on the front page or anything like that. As far as they're trying to keep that on the DL, it seems, which is interesting. And then we also have a reminder of the surveyors that are setting out in multiple seas. We know that they are in the north and also in the west, as the approaching Reverie inches ever closer. You guys, most of you had ended up leaving the glass house and going back to Port Scarletta. Some of you on the bird with Dalt Wisney, and some of you on foot, leading to some of you being extremely exhausted upon returning 2 days later. Those of you that did not return to the port were launched out of a cannon and directly into the tourbillon, and then devoured by a centuries-old gargantuan Neptunian that spit poison and
Who would
lightning.
do that?
Yeah, crazy.
It doesn't sound familiar.
Are you sure someone in group 2 did that?
Positive.
I heard those guys solo.
But
Yeah, I don't think one of our guys would have got eaten. I think he would have chose to dive deeper into the Sea King's mouth.
Agreed.
But yeah, it was wild. Ragnar's character fighting for his life at what he thought was the bottom of the tourbillon, that was just like one of the shelves on the edge of the continental plate that they're like on right now. And the gyro worm pulling up as he's like trying to like solo like a bunch of like hagfish and lamprey, and he sets off a bomb summoning it straight, like immediately alerting the gyro worm of his presence. And all these like things that were trying to like relentlessly tear him apart and devour him just run away, and he hides and in like a sea wreckage here, and like he did pretty well on his stealth, and I was even also giving him a little bit of charity still from the previous religion check that he did. Yeah, the entire ship that would eventually become his home for the greater part of the next week inside the belly of this beast was devoured. Crazy. While that was all going down, some of the crew returned quicker than others, but yeah, the rest of you guys returned to Port Scarletta, and you saw that a new bar was built by Jerry, and the ship was pretty much all but completed, as far as like any spec, like blueprints that need to be executed and repairs that need to be done and stuff like that. Unfortunately, you were not alone at that bar, and this was when absolute insanity unfolded yet again, and by far the most deadly fight in the whole campaign up until that point took place, where two Cypher Pole agents had jumped you all and had thrown a little bit of money bags at the two bounty hunters, Sonia and Zara, to persuade them. So it was 4 versus the whole town, and some of these guys were built absolutely different. This was an insane fight, and I don't remember if this fight was like multiple. This was multiple sessions, right? This was a huge fight.
Yeah, the wrap up us of the Scarlet and Dalton, Rocky B and Russ outside was all this next session.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And man, Rocky B got like down to 2 HP, and Dalt did as well. Like it was crazy, but Captain Scarlet soloed, and you guys also saw like a crazy like vision of her in your mind, like being like, yo, trust. and Jerry was like, you don't want to like let them know you're still alive. Like that is like there was some, it was like felt a little fishy at the time, but like trust me, it made sense as far as like what Jerry's character would say, because like it's better that you guys are not known to still be alive at that point in time of these individuals who were clearly out for blood. And the element of surprise was something that would be extremely crucial, and they would not be able to move faster than the ship and things like that. Little did you know, though, that you guys had already had plans to go and get Lord Azrael back from the tourbillon. So D'Amico and Goddard are still out there, licking their wounds and recovering from one of the coolest fights. Like I had like 24 stat blocks open at one point in time on that fight. It was crazy.
I personally hope we don't meet them again. I'm gonna be honest.
I feel like Cece, while hearing this story and drinking, would be like, Mustache Man, Tiny Hat Guy. I've seen them.
Oh no, it's Mustache Man and Sandwich Guy.
Yeah, the thing with the sandwiches was kind of weird, but yeah.
He didn't mention sandwiches when he came to the library. He just had a tiny hat.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at him, he looks like he eats a lot of sandwiches.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
What's that? Dill?
Dill
That
is
was
way
in
too
character,
wasted.
huh?
Yeah, Dill is way too wasted to remember any of this right now, though. But yeah, you guys had
question of in the moment.
yeah. But you guys had a bit of a bump, a speed bump there, a very, very lethal encounter there, where you guys were theory crafting so long about Jerry and his capabilities, and you guys did in fact find out he is an absolute unit. He's him. He's actually really strong, but so were these opponents. And without him, y'all were probably completely cooked. But who knows? There is the Ragnar element, you know. like I've thought that before.
Ragnar was playing like 3 characters tonight.
Oh yeah, he was playing the whole Gen Project crew.
RIP unit, bro. Like, by the way, we lost I won't even say a real one because I didn't remember her name until recently. But we lost somebody, you know, RIP, and Enid, you know.
Yeah, and like the other 20, you know, people who got completely slaughtered in the street. But yeah,
Well,
you know, unnamed NPC is completely irrelevant.
I'm gonna get in the Beaver cards and give them all names and portraits, like favorite foods, birthplaces,
all their
like
backstories.
No, what's up, Ragnar? I think, are you muted? Bruh.
Like a ghost. Enigma.
Crazy. But yeah, it was at that point that they
members have we had like died?
Scrub Daddy.
All right. Oh, I didn't know Scrub Daddy.
Enid and Kama were not actually crew members. They were like, we're gonna put roots down for once, because they were nomads for years, and like they never actually swore their allegiance to the Scarlet Pirates. But they did give their blessings to. Yeah, they're like Grand Fleet, you know.
Hey, and they're no longer alive. I wonder what that speaks volumes to.
Oh my god, that's wild.
They're a lot weaker than the Grand Fleet.
But yeah, they were goats for sure, and they placed bets on the next generation, which is y'all. And after that, you guys had the W Helmsman himself sand surf the entire newly dubbed Queen's Gambit across the Red Sand Desert. And I remember I could hear the adrenaline in your voice, torimori, as you were like making these checks and like weaving in between like mesas and like banking off of like dunes and shit like that, and like just like skiffing it through like the Red Sand Desert in like breakneck paces and shit like that. It was so cool.
Dude, it was yeah, and it was incredible. It was so much fun. Kind of interesting to christen the Gambit's first voyage across land. I found that pretty significant and really cool. And yeah, I loved that whole bit. It also felt good because we had just like trekked across it on foot and gotten like, poor Dill had so much exhaustion for so long. I mean, that felt good to almost tame the desert right back at it. So shout out Bang for the best damn ship in this North Blue.
Yeah, harnessing the power of sandstorms and gigantic superhuman size hamster wheels. You guys absolutely got there and plunged into the tourbillon, or on top of the tourbillon basically, and were told by Holly to, you know, sail into it and like try and outspeed it so it doesn't pull you in. Very solid advice that you guys probably would have been cooked without some great insight from the W Helmsman. This was just a free W that was served up to you guys by one of the coolest NPCs. We love Holly, don't we? She's so great.
Oh, we.
But
Hey, is that operation still going?
oh my god.
No, she left. So
she left on good terms with everybody, by the way.
We have an
Use them-
established number for her.
Oh,
right, you just have to realize I'm never going to call her to give her a share of the profits. So operation successful.
Oh, trust me, she'll find you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sail fast enough. I think I've literally told Ragnar what her swimming speed is. She will outrun your ship.
Hey, bro. Yo, Holly is the most heavily glazed swimmer in all of Group 2 book. So, yo, come if you want to. We got... Hey, that's why Bangy Boom keeps that thing on him. You know, come get your 10%.
Oh my god. So, but it was at this point that there were shipside actions and then those who were below sea level actions as the captain and Harry and Holly dove down into the tourbillon. And at this point, after like over a week, I think, in the belly of the beast, or around a week in the belly of the beast, Ragnar's character Lord Azrael had taken the back door out and had survived just barely, taking as much treasure as he could with him, and actually causing significant damage to the arteries of this beast by injecting glass into its circulatory system. Little did he know at that point in time, this thing has multiple hearts, but you definitely messed up one of them and were causing some lasting damage, and it was taking a D4 every single turn, which actually ended the fight a lot quicker than... There were turns where no damage was done to this thing except for that D4, so it definitely came in clutch, trust me. It also reduced its movement speed, if you can believe that, because it was hot on y'all's tail after it started chasing all of you and was keen to your location and whatnot. But huge things happening. Lord Azrael got an egg. Holly got took basically like a bolt breath, like a Boro breath equivalent almost to the face, and was very much not trying to do that again. And then Scarlet and Harry and Holly went down to the ocean floor and slipped in between cracks in tectonic plates and found an entire subterranean self-contained ocean underneath the ocean. And this was very recently, actually, so I would highly recommend going and checking out that session where Scarlet had a conversation with Luminous B themselves, which was so crazy. A long time coming, and it was really, really hilarious to see just like how not seriously Scarlet's character took it at first, but complete oceans of diamonds and gold dust and rubies and gems and other like wealth and whatnot that they ended up leaving untouched because they did not have the means to harvest it, but they did get a mysterious substance that has the properties of the ocean, and Bagdy Boom is working diligently to harness that in as many ways as he possibly can. While up at the top, the rest of the crew fought for their life on top of the Queen's Gambit, which was insane, absolutely crazy. This was way more lethal than the Cypher Pole bar brawl. Like, that was insane. I did not think it was possible. Again, there was the Ragnar element, am I right? But like, I literally did not think it was possible for you guys to actually take out the gyre worm. And there were multiple times where it was about to devour your entire ship. Your rudder snapped. There were so many points. There was like, in like food, like preparation and whatnot, there's like several moments that are like make it or break it. It's like critical control points where you're like, if you don't do this right, the whole recipe is fucked. There were like a dozen or so critical control points throughout that encounter across multiple sessions where like it could have literally been completely game over, but the dice love you guys. And you know, W Helmsman be Wing, you know, and like it was the shooting the sniper rifle rounds into its eyes, the glass into its veins, and like it was absolutely like recovering from being pulled into its magnetic force by like wakeboarding on the shield and like just like banking off of like the way, like literally nothing but W's across the whole crew. It was insane. It was such a fun
teamwork moment.
Yeah, I loved the introduction to like ship actions and like the whole like you like everyone acts on the same initiative as well. Is a really interesting system. I can't wait to get back to more like ship events and like sailing and like maybe some ship to ship combat eventually instead of ship to sea king combat. But I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll throw some more Sea Kings at you guys if you guys choose to go towards a calm belt or something. But
if you guys get lucky.
Yeah,
I never repaired the rudder. Never got to repair the rudder on a moving ship before, so that was a first.
It was an incredible show. I loved that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rocky D, the best anchor in the business. You know, I'd never dive over a ship without Rocky D holding the rope, you know.
And then we have the last newspaper that was dropped, the most recent one that was dropped by a news coup that was very suspiciously perched right on the bowsprit at the front of your ship after the events of the gyro worm took place and you reunited over on Red Rock with your captain and Ragnar and Harry and Holly, and behind you the tourbillon seemed to cease to flow. A centuries old, multiple miles wide, just absolute force of nature, a whirlpool stretching down to the bottom of the ocean that had claimed centuries worth of treasure and armadas and fleets and whatnot. First natural disaster that was conquered by any of the Scarlet Pirates, can confirm. But yeah, this news coup had dropped off the most recent paper, dated October 6th. Big news! The Marines in search of the legacy of the Pirate King. A kingdom offers 2 billion berries to any doctor who can crack the case. Folks, the world government is certainly out to make an example of Roger, something they were hoping to do at his execution. His final words still echo across the seas, causing many to set sail in search of the world's greatest treasure. But where are the rest of the Roger pirates? They seem to have all taken great care to going into hiding, as of right now. But while searching for them, the Marines got a tip that the late king of the pirates was seen with a lady in the South Blue not too long before his capture. Needless to say, Marine presence has increased drastically in the South. The world government has also arrested a world-famous galley law shipwright who has confessed to being responsible for building the Otto Jackson for the late pirate king. His trial will be held shortly. Be sure to check back with us as we will have extensive coverage once it is underway. Folks, it's not a good time to have anything to do with Roger. But will this really scare that many rookies, the many rookies that have set sail already in search for the One Piece, or deter those whose journeys have already begun? In other news, the Napoli royal family in Flevance has issued a tremendous reward to any doctor who can solve the mystery of a disease that has been on the rise in the White City. Many of the world's most renowned medical minds have either already failed to present any notable findings, outright refused to take interest, or are perhaps on their way to the north at this very moment. Who will claim the 2 billion berry reward, and perhaps even be remembered as one of the greatest doctors alive today? You can bet that we will keep you informed as more on this unfolds. Until next time, folks. And that was the most recent World Economic newspaper that was mysteriously placed on their ship as Captain Scarlet tried to go and pet the news coup that was alone and staring directly at them.
All right, can we clarify that wasn't the suspicious part? The suspicious part was the fact that the news coup didn't want money.
I mean, it's pretty sus that it was alone as well, right?
No, because usually they fly alone, but usually they wait for money.
But
Morgan just does his newspaper shit for free?
For the love of the game, bro. For the love of the game.
Notoriety, man.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy's like, I ain't got change. This one's on the house, but
Yeah, he makes good ad money, you know.
Ragnar in the chat right now. 2 billion to do what? Oh my god, that is wild. But yeah, so that was what happened before the crew most recently ended up sailing through the Nepal mountain range, the like oceanic like mountains near the Walking Mountains, on along the clockwise gyre to the south side of Livneal, and finding their way to a old beat down port formerly known as Port Desolé, and then hoofing it over to the L'École, where Livneal University is. Shout out to Livneal U, Gemhide Pride, baby. But it was a Sunday, the day after the newspapers. Yeah, the day after the newspapers drop. So they drop on Saturday. So it was a Sunday. Seemed like everything was shut down. Nobody was taking any money. Nobody was like doing any business. And they got pretty fed up with that. Didn't get any information that they kind of wanted. And they ended up hoofing it over the chateau where they met Cece. And that brings us up to the most current events.
Baby Boom got some game in the city. I don't know about the other guys. There's a nice little shipment of some interesting material coming in, ripe to be stolen.
Hell yeah, they did. And yeah, for more on the most recent events, definitely check out the last week's session. My favorite of all of our sessions that we've done so far was last week's. There's no role initiative or anything like that. It was just actually a lot of fun. Tons of like social encounters and just role playing, and Ragnar created a whole Batman villain, guys. And we got the introduction of Lucas's character finally at long last. And some of my favorite like random bits of like NPC improvisation that I just had to like pull out of the bag, and like I'm just glad I had a map for everything y'all wanted to do, more or less. You know, like it was just like, it was really
Scarlet
interesting.
stealing the sandwich.
Yes, that was actually hilarious. And don't think that those students are gonna forget about like the people who just walked around with bags on their head, you know, like that. So
right, they might not forget, but they won't recognize them, you know.
But we had a lot of wild times over the course of the past like 32 sessions, and there's been some other like SBS stuff that we've done. Typically lines up with like Oda SBS drops and like when the volumes are released and things like that. So we wanted to make sure to do this one tonight. I have now read through all of the World Economic newspaper stuff, and we've gone over like all of the major beats of the story so far. But I did want to take some time, unless you guys wanted to talk about anything else in a little bit more depth, to go over the cover stories, which is, again, I think one of my favorite things about this whole campaign is that I just kind of get to like do all this stuff, like, and like the world keeps turning around you guys, and like obviously there's like the focus in session on what y'all are doing, but I get to also just like make sure that I'm keeping tabs on the whole rest of the world, and how that may or may not play into future or past events some much sooner than others, and some maybe way far out. And I would love to read some of these and like have you guys kind of like theory cook on like what's going on that, or like maybe just to kind of remind you guys like and how that ties into things that have already happened. And very recently, some of them became things that you guys would know about in character as well. But unless anybody else had like anything they wanted to talk about, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting into some of the cover stories. And if anybody in the okay, he is so drunk, holy shit. But yeah, there is a number of cover stories. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'll just read like some of the ones that are like kind of like, you know, important to plot threads that have been well established now and they weren't previously, as well as you know, like we'll have a little bit of maybe discussion in between some of them. But the first cover story is dated on May 23rd, 2023, which was not where our first session was. I think it was like before then, but like I didn't start doing the cover stories right away. But yeah, that is that's 14 months ago almost at this point in time. What a crazy time it's been. Interior. Naval base in the North Blue. A naval officer reads a briefing from HQ. Lucas, I'm gonna mute you.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
And reviews a wanted poster of a certain red-haired pirate. Well, what do we have here? Look who's found himself in my neck of the woods. The officer smirks as she crumbles the paper and drops them to the floor. She props her feet up onto the desk next to the plaque that reads, "In 3, Commander Everett's." And an enlisted rushes over to sweep up the crumbled papers off of the floor. So this was the first cover story that I put out, and this already kind of established what I'm pretty sure all of you know already as the, you know, the commander that has been referred to in several other instances and in the newspapers and in other cover stories that we'll get to and whatnot. This is the big shot at the naval base that is stationed here on Livneal. And there's just been little tiny moments that have kind of like added to her character and things like that. And there's also apparently some sort of intrigue towards some red-haired pirate, whoever that may be. The next one was exterior, a large stone castle nestled in between mountain ranges and a rushing ocean current. An elderly gentleman in a black suit and hat combo can be seen lecturing at seaman recruits. Listen up. We're in short supply of good soldiers right now, so you lot are all I've got for the time being. Sir, the rank and file all shout and salute in unison. If things go our way, you will all be likely up for promotions, and we will hopefully be seeing plenty of new faces around here. So until that happens, I need this place to be kept in absolute order. I don't want to hear a single word from Shivers about housekeeping when he returns. Do you understand? Sir. The elderly gentleman crosses his arms behind his back and stares into the north as the enlisted all salute once more. So this was right at Shivers' introduction is when this one came out. And it was this was, I think, before like all of the actual like bar brawl happened way back in the day, which was crazy. But this was, I think, the first time y'all got Shivers' name was in this like cover story. Like, and obviously your characters didn't know that, but you as players were like, what the fuck? Like, I remember some of y'all reacting to it like, who? Like, and some of you had already kind of like put it together and stuff like that, but this was like, I don't know, like I felt like I was Galaxy Brain back in the day, but I probably would not have actually put this one out. When I did, I might have like done it a little bit later, if I could like go back and do it again. But yeah, there's This was where Dill was before catching a ride on Shiver's boat to Port Delphina, now Port Scarletta, which was Portmanteau, a place that all of you have not been to other than Dill, still, which is in the middle of Livneal, in between the north half and the south half. And there's been a few appearances of this individual, this man in a suit and hat combo, in the cover stories as well. Then we get a cover story that kind of just establishes the vastness of the deserts and introduces Baba Mira. And this was also about, I looked at the dates, this was like 2 months before the nomads even got introduced as characters and stuff like that. So they were kind of cooking for a bit before we got there, and that sandstorm that Dill survived was also foreshadowed in this event as well.
You mean stopped?
No, I don't mean that. Then the next
I tried to have your
one.
back, Dill.
I see it. I see
I
you doing
stopped it
that.
with my 2 hands.
The thing is, Cece canonically believes that Dill stopped the sandstorm and the torpedo.
Okay, dude, your character is so drunk trying to tell her these things right now. I'm not sure if that's the case, but
Yeah, she don't believe it. She's just like, okay,
This would
buddy.
be your least believable moment. You're like as drunk as you could possibly be.
I could just see drunk ass Dill like hunched over the counter, like spilling a shot glass, being, and then I said, Azrael, grab her, like. Yo, that is actually crazy. And then Pete,
So what about with a 16 deception?
you'd be rolling at disadvantage because you are drunk.
What about a 16 deception?
Oh my goodness. If Cece would like to roll insight on that, she absolutely can.
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay, well, you know what to beat.
Oof. 12 does not beat.
Dill has taken out a sandstorm and the torpedo.
She cautiously believes you.
But the next cover story was, I believe, also 2 months before the proper introduction of Bang Dee Boom as a character, and session 1 on my channel. So this was still during the Void sessions. Sometime in the past, on an archipelago in the North Blue, a large crater can be seen at the foot of a singular snow-capped mountain. The island is surrounded by dozens of sandbars and islets, and ships can be seen weaving in between the land masses in the distance. Inside the crater is a sprawling metropolis, with roads dividing it into quadrants, and rings ascending up the walls from the lowest centermost point up to the very edge. A palace can be seen within the highest ring on the northmost side of the enormous crater, while slums are seem to be isolated to the deepest depths of the landmark. 2 well-dressed men can be seen conversing on a balcony of the palace's south side overlooking the city. So, my lord, tell me, what do you think of the increase in pirate activity lately? Have you given any thought to increasing security around the perimeter? Why would I? Why would I bother worrying about such things? Even pirates aren't so foolish to think that they could step foot in this city. If anything, we will all prosper far more due to their presence. The world government has already placed a sizable order for next month. Yes, we should have all of the ammunition ready to ship by tomorrow, my lord. No. We'll ship it in a week. But my lord, silence! We wouldn't want them to forget who makes the terms on this sea, now would we? And this would be, anyone have any idea who this individual is?
I'm assuming it's some greedy king that's down here near us.
Yeah, the King of Levenel.
Nope.
I had no idea.
Your character actually does. Pete?
Oh, is this the Archipelago dude, the CEO guy?
Absolutely. They're talking about manufacturing ammunition and weapons and making deals with the government and whatnot and pulling big power plays and whatnot. This completely screams Ferrum Tempest. Which is somebody you're not a big fan of, I believe.
His vision is limited. You know, he doesn't really see the. He doesn't see
I'm not a big fan of the government,
bruh.
Hey,
this is
also weapons to anybody, but this guy is.
Yeah, this guy had also had Malcolm Gilderoy in his pockets, and Scarlet had conversed with his assistant on the transponder snail, impersonating Malcolm Gilderoy in that canal that connected to the ocean underneath the glass house. So yeah, this guy has been pulling some strings, and he's a bit of a big shot.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of. And that was his first mention. And then Pete was like, we were bringing in Pete's character, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like you're like an explodey guy who likes weapons. I got the perfect spot for you to come from. Like, but
if only they were more open-minded, maybe I wouldn't have ended up on Portugal Island.
Yeah. The next cover story
that's a bad thing, though.
The next cover story was an homage to the passing of Shivers, and you know, again, this was stuff that all took place, I think, before we properly got into like the non-void sessions. In the first non-void session one, I believe, is interior. A campus tower, seaside in the North Blue. The school colors are rich red and yellow, can be seen lining the walls. 2 guard officers scout a nearby coast from north to south, reporting details through transponder snails and on paper pads. 1 guard relays info as he stares through the telescoping spyglass, while the other flippantly jotted down the other's tellings. We seem to have an increase in trade activity lately. Is this one on the approved list? N0362. Yes, sir. N0362 is a freighter scheduled to hit the red port in 1 month's time, sent from Akitsuki Archipelago. We should be expecting about 15 more ships like that one in the coming weeks. I've heard the archipelago is nice this time of year. Those sailors must be elated to ditch the icebreakers. A ledger can be seen with lists of all of the approved ships scheduled for passage around the clockwise gyre. Music can be heard bugling across the college from a large intercom transponder snail atop the clock tower of the courtyard. This is where we're at right now, guys. That's Live Nil U. We are that is Le Cole.
I was gonna ask that if those were the colors.
Red and gold, baby. Yes, sir. Gemhide Pride.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go. So that is over a year ago.
Oh yeah, Cece hates the college town.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so this was but this is kind of the reason why, like, Davos knows like these waters are heavily patrolled and monitored and whatnot. This is kind of the reason why you guys could just sail right in and had to like be a little bit more covert recently. This also established that it takes about a month to get from Reverse Mountain, from here to Reverse Mountain, although it is a straight shot. So this is kind of huge. This was the first cover story that happened as Pete's character kind of sailed in and then like came in like a wrecking ball, and on that first session on my channel. So this was that's huge. Then we get the cover story that takes us to the capital of Livneal, actually. A cozy and slightly rickety wood cabin of sorts with creaking floorboards, doors that stuck so that you had to put your shoulder into it to push open, and slightly tattered and stained rugs and curtains. Natural light trickled into the main room through the tears of the curtains, and where the light hit, there would be seen a film of dust that gave a matte-like texture to everything that it touched. Several small children poured out from the side rooms, as fluttering could be heard outside, and a newspaper flew down and slapped the cobblestone just outside of the front door. An older figure emerged from the back room, and each of the kids of varying sizes, hair colors, and postures all lined up in single file. Now. You all know we've got too many chores to do to be waiting on hand and foot for a newspaper article that will never come. As the door swung open loudly, and with heft and force, the grown-up bent down to retrieve the paper. After a brief skimming of the pages, their eyes widened a bit as they removed one page from the back of the paper, before presenting it to the children. You see? I told you, there's no news of Davos finding the One Piece. Now hurry up and sweep the halls, and I better not hear about you stealing from the orchards or the markets again. Enter Verity. Father figure to Davos,
My boy!
the orphanage leader in the capital city of Livneal, and him not sharing Davos's bounty with his former. This guy
Davos loves the dude, but above table, what I know, sus.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Foster the dream, Verity.
If he had made the bounty poster or not. Well, that's kind of crazy. That he's like, yeah, he hasn't found the One Piece, but doesn't say that he actually has become a reputable pirate.
He doesn't want any of them seeing it and getting any crazy ideas. Whatever trust he might have had in Davos, although Davos is a grown man, can make his own decisions and whatnot, whatever blessings he may or may not have given him upon whatever send-off they might have had, the rest of these kids ain't got no business going to the Grand Line. That's how he feels. But that was huge.
I love him, but he might be getting a little bit old.
Okay. But yeah, that was huge. It was the first mention of any of our crew directly in a cover story, and I remember seeing in the Group 2 channel here in the TLA server. I think Dill was like so hype. He was just like, "Hey yo, Davos is in a cover story," and like it was hilarious. Like.
Yeah, that was a very, very obviously hype one for me. I was stoked when you dropped that one. I already look forward to the Tuesdays enough, but like that was just a little bit of nitrous in the engine.
The next one was going back to referring to the military base here posted on Livneal. Atop a large flat cliff high above sea level, surrounded by waters of the north on nearly all sides, the stone walls of a military base with castle-like proportions and architecture are gleaming in the sunlight. As birds flock overhead, riding on the trade winds, a cloaked lady with long pink hair can be seen gazing outside of an open window on the 4th floor of the base. A coup with a stack of folded papers perches upon her windowsill and winks before placing the papers down and flying off quickly. Well now, let's hope they finally sent me someone competent. We'll put a hold on things just in case. Looks like the north is now our top priority. The lady's face twists into an empty yet captivating smile as she stares at the map of the island of Livneal with the symbol of the Marines stamped over several of the southern ports. And so obviously this is in reference to the north half of Live Neal, taking priority over. There was apparently several well executed plans to spread boots on the ground to much of the south half, and so the north became a priority.
Well, it's a good thing you got out of there, huh?
This is actually the first bit of foreshadowing that led to the Cypher Pole agent showing up and quartering you all in the bar.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
And
they were looking for Jerry.
They were, but there were multiple things at play. Because they were somehow also aware of your bounties, or aware enough to give those of you that have bounties. Then we have the introduction of Goddard. Immediately after that, a stuffy and cluttered mailroom with stacks of sealed and marked envelopes and packages covering each of the shelves and desks. File cabinet drawers are half shut with crumpled documents wadded up and sticking out from them. A waste basket overflows with paper scraps and plastics, and a calendar hung on the wall still shows the first month of this year. Keep in mind, it's like September, October right now. Underneath the piles of unfinished duties, a tiny mustached man with a fedora and post-it notes stuck to his chin toils away with a mindless stare. In walks in an elderly gentleman with a black envelope in his hands. As he weaves in between the clutter and locates the desk, the two nod. Vacation's over, Goddard. Looks like you're finally going back on assignment. The tiny mustache man wrinkles his brow with irritation, but he sighs and then opens up his desk drawer and begins packing up his personal things. The elderly gentleman laughs as he hands over the black envelope and begins to exit the office. I wonder what kind of job they got you on after 3 long years of not seeing the field. Don't worry. From what I gather, this one's pretty hard to mess up. The tiny mustached man's narrowed eyes scanned the contents of the envelope, and his mustache began to curl ever so slightly into an ominous smile. And this marks a moment where I think this was the first no, this was the second actually like cover story that I got like a huge like I think like reaction from another like somebody else, not crew, who was watching at that point in time messaged me and is like, hey yo, what's going on? Like it was so funny to me. But yeah, so that was Mustache Man's introduction. Then we have this one's kind of like a filler one where I just kind of go over just like how deadly the Red Sand Desert is, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. Then we have the introduction of Gilderoy, Malcolm Gilderoy himself, as you guys are crawling through the red sand facing off with his lackeys and things like this. Keep in mind, you guys faced Malcolm Gilderoy in February. This was released in October. Ragnar, what you talking about? He has a giant mustache. He is a tiny man. It's different. It's not a tiny mustache, okay? But this was the introduction of Malcolm Gilderoy, the leader of the Glasshouse Pirates, as a concept. Exterior, a coiling and massive seascape spiraling in and down as far as the eyes can see. The tide seemed to pull even the horizon itself down with them in a coordinated yet chaotic pattern. Legends tell of cursed waters all across the north where no pirates dare sail. No creatures try to swim, no birds choose to fly, and they say that even the sun itself does not choose to shine on these waters. Many of the natives of Livneo believe that those legends all started here. Tucked in between the Red Rock and the King's Coast is a surging tidal force known as the Tourbillon, a twisted stretch of sea that is said to be devoid of hope, and the resting place for hundreds of thousands of those foolish or unlucky enough to have been pulled into its currents. These filthy pirates seek to cross the ocean to hunt down great treasure. Why not let it come to you? A man with a smile as crooked and twisted as the whirling tides beneath stands upon a cliff face, overlooking the maw of the sea in front of him. His features were lost to the umbra of the burning sun low in the sky behind him, as a darkness blanketed the waters and the ripping winds wailed in the cacophonous drone. Oh, what great treasures you must surely hold. Then we get Holly's introduction in the next cover story a week later, and this was
get wrecked, Bozo.
okay. Crazy.
Hashtag group 2 solos.
Holly was again not somebody I think you guys met until the new year, and this was mid-October that this one dropped. Interior, a dark and dusty holding cell with a barred window overlooking the tourbillon. As an armed bounty hunter enters the room, a shackled lady perks her head up. The bounty hunter approached the bars of the cell with a tray of sloppy-looking rations in one hand and the keys in the other. After some fiddling, the heavy door swings open. You know, today's my birthday. I'm sorry, boss says I'm not supposed to talk to you. Oh, you poor thing. You must be new here. Yes, ma'am, this is my first day on guard duty now. Stay where you are and hush up, if you know what's good for you. The lady stared at the water on the tray intently and wetted her lips with excitement as her bruised face began to curl into a subtle grin. Did they tell you what happened to the last guard? And I love that bit. It kind of gives me like River Song vibes if you're a Doctor Who fan. Like, from the Storm Cage days. But yeah, this was yeah, Holly is a mermaid, and that today being her birthday, that means that's the day she got her legs. And this guard was not supposed to give her a glass of water, so his mistake. But that is how she ended up actually getting out of there. And then we have all of the events leading up to, oh yeah, it's Jerry drunk at back at Port Scarletta, not knowing where the hell everybody is. That was a fun little stretch of events there while he was waiting for you guys. That's when he decided to finish the bar and start working on the ship, while waiting you guys to return. And then we had the events where Harry and Softy Boy fended off, or tried to fend off some invading pirates while you all were gone, which I was rolling dice behind the screen, and it could have gone very, very bad. I'm just gonna say that for real right now. But Harry and Softy Boy had a really cool moment. So I'll read the first bit, but I won't spend too much time on that whole cover story. Exterior, the docks at Port Scarletta were fully repaired using salvaged lumber from the several sunken ships in the surrounding water. It took a few days to dry out the planks in the sun, but the place looks good as new. Softy Boy and Harry guarded the ship and the weapon shack respectively, although no others had come to dock here since Bang D Boom had arrived. Hey, Red Hair, don't you find it odd that those nomads and the rest of the crew haven't returned yet? I thought for sure that we'd be sailing out of here by now. Well, I'm pretty sure they aimed across the deserts. Wouldn't it be a bit suspicious to sail parts of the dead merchant ship through patrolled waters? And could you please not call me that anymore? Just Harry, please. Oh, yeah. old habits, you know. As for the crew, I'm sure they're fine. The nomads seem to do well in the desert, so I think they're in pretty good hands. You're right, I guess I'm just... Hey, do you ever think about your old crew at all? I see you must have a lot on your mind. I remember when your dad first defeated my crew in our 3-coin game. My men watched as I swore my allegiance to the you hardy pirates. You were much younger then. It's strange, but my old first mate told me something then that might help you now. All of the worry in the world can't change the way the winds blow. Sometimes all you can do is adjust your sails. Yeah, I get it. Thanks, Harry. Sorry for... Don't worry about it. The two crewmates exchanged nods and shook each other's hands firmly as the winds began to whip around them. Then a surprised look overtook their faces as they noticed a ship on the horizon. The sun made it impossible to tell the color of the sails. So that was like the moment they became straight up brothers. Like they love each other, and we love that for them. They're homies. They're full ride or die at that point. Because I guess before, like the whole time on the Hardy Pirates, they never really talked. Like which kind of makes sense. Harry's not a talkative guy. Then we get another cover story that touches back on the naval base here. Exterior, a naval base perched atop a jutting cliffside, surrounded by sea and sky on almost all sides. A lighthouse, training grounds, and barracks can be seen as the land descends closer to the large capital city and docks far below. Well, this new lot of recruits has certainly proved to be formidable, to say the least. The tall man with a cape that reads justice repeats as he is catching his breath and wiping the sweat from his brow. He stands near an excited-looking doctor who is steadily analyzing a clipboard. Yes! Who was that last one? She did quite a number on you, it seems, Lieutenant. I wouldn't expect anything less from that old man's granddaughter. I probably shouldn't have let her get in a free shot. I think I'll call it a day. Ah, so she's the prodigy. I remember seeing her results from the entrance exams. I should have known. Perhaps she could qualify for cipher pull training already? What do you think? I'd say so. Last time a rookie hit me that hard was when Goddard was still a recruit, but the commander wants to keep her close by until we can settle the situation in the north half. We still haven't seen a body, so until then we can't tell her anything about what happened. A fierce and narrow-eyed, shorter female enlisted can be seen with bright orange hair, drinking a gallon of milk and stretching. The other recruits seemed to be whispering about her at a safe distance. The doctor and the lieutenant stood just out of earshot from her as the wind skated across the cliffside and ships could be seen sailing up to the neighboring port. This next one is just about Enid and Kama returning back to Port Scarletta and placing a bet on the future. Won't spend too much time on that cover story, like I said, but yeah, Port Scarletta almost got overtaken while the crew was gone. Thankfully, it did not. You guys did find out, though, that the pirates that were responsible for that was a very skeleton crew, very small. It was like, I think 2 or 3 people. They had gone off into the White Sand Desert after being fended off from Port Scarletta. Then we get a trip back to the Akatsuki archipelago, where we hear from our boy Ferrum Tempest again. Interior, a palace perched atop the northernmost upper ring of a vast crater. A large and sprawling city is seen beneath the palace, lining the walls and the floors of the crater. Ice flows and scattered islets speckle the horizon behind the massive landmark as 2 well-dressed gentlemen discuss affairs. One stands staring out of the southernmost window of a conference room. My lord, it's been quite some time since we lost contact with 0365. Would you like me to see to this myself? There's no need to dirty our hands with such paltry matters. Besides, we are already well connected in that area, or have you forgotten? Get in touch with the glass fellow and have him look into the port. My lord, do you really think that we can rely on such a sellsword as him? He's proven to do good business already, has he not? Promise him another 100 million on top of the standing order if he can locate the missing shipment. As you wish, lord, my lord. Surely that is less effort than to mobilize my own personal fleet, but do you think he'll actually accept such a task for such a meager amount? He'll happily do it. 100 million should be more than enough to sway such a simple man. It shall be done, my lord. I'll contact him at once. And yeah, this is Ferrum Tempest talking to his assistant. And then Scarlet literally pretended to be Malcolm Gilderoy, and this plot thread is still unresolved, actually. But yeah, 0365 is the one you came in on, Pete.
Oh, well, yeah, they're not going to find that.
No, they certainly are not. But that does mean...
I'm sure they will. At the bottom of the ocean.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, they're happy look.
But this gives credence to, in the newspapers, when it was mentioned that Ferrum Tempest has offered to open, basically sponsor the investigation that the Marines have on the whole north half, like that whole situation. So many people interested in what could have potentially gone on over there, you know.
It does make Bang D Boom feel good that he was able to sink one of his ships and at least cause him a minor inconvenience of sorts.
Let's go. Then we have another one. This is mid-February, so this was, I think, at the start of the glass house proper stuff, like you guys getting into the glass house and like the buddy cop scene and stuff like that with Bang D Boom and Lord Azrael. Exterior: the shining and speckled shores of Calvaria, a skull-shaped cluster of islands and sandbars with a straight passage in between the bottom jaw and the larger island of the north. Piles of golden coins line the bottom of the shallow strait as the sunlight gleams and glares off of them in every which direction. The tides seem rather mellow, as little to no winds travel along these shores most of the year. There are no birds or sails in sight, but a few overturned dinghies and cracked barrels can be seen bobbing up and down with the tame and gentle ebb and flow of the lax and scarce waves, or partially embedded into the sands. The water is crystal clear as in the daylight, as no sediment is usually disturbed from the seabed that surrounds this area. All was calm until a large paddle ship started to cause ripples that flowed towards the archipelago from the west. A dull droning of its motors can be heard humming in the distance, slowly but surely getting louder as the ship drew nearer. It was as if the subtle winds themselves whispered a haunting phrase out from the shores as the ship approached. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. So, west of Calvaria, if we look at the map, I can actually pull this up right now on stream. Give me just a second. West of Calvaria is nothing, actually. I have no idea what's happening right now. Hold on, my Roll20 is absolutely bugging. Give me a second, guys. But yeah, that would be directly a calm belt, which I'll pull up in just a second. And I think, yeah, in this last session, didn't Bang D Boom hear literally about a guy sailing in through a calm belt?
Oh, yeah.
So
My next victim.
this was the setup of all of that, actually. We love that. Your boy needs to get plus. So this is the greater map of the North as we know it now. I need to actually fix where you guys are at on this map. Sorry, I'm having technical. Roll 20 is absolutely
the guy that was
devastating me.
like sailing in with the abandon all Hobie, he winter here is the one that sailed through the convent.
That is correct. As Calvaria is like down here.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys can see that ping, I think that's Calvaria, or yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look to the west of where Calvaria is, it's literally directly at Calm Belt. And we'll actually be seeing a little bit more from him in another cover story later. Then there's a cover story kind of explaining how very, very dangerous the north is, because you guys are kind of in the north south. You know, yes, it's the north blue, but you guys are close to Reverse Mountain, so this is the southest of the north, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And that's why it's not completely frigid, this part, but like half of the north blue is pretty much frigid waters. Then we have interior. A short and suited man with a sizable mustache and a disgruntled expression stood and waited in a lobby. The room was tied together quite nicely with ornate decor and was rather clean and orderly. Rows of bookcases could be seen from beyond the clerk station, and a ledger with scribbles and dates sat atop the desk. And will this be all for you, sir? The man nodded as he signed, dated, and promptly reached over to the clerk's desk to grab a small stack of books that were gathered for him. He slid the lady 50,000 berries, and as she thanked him, he made for the door. A taller and rotund man with a walking cane and cap stood up from the chair in the corner of the lobby and folded up the World Economic newspaper. So, you must be the guy. The larger gentleman bowed and greeted the mustached man with a toothy grin and the tip of a hat that was way too small for his round head. They said you'd check out that book from here. I used to read it when I was a much younger man. How about we chat over some lunch and go over the game plan? The two stared at each other for a brief moment, and then the mustache man proceeded to exit as the larger man followed. Well, you're not much of a talker, are you? This was Cece's first lines in the entire story, actually.
Yes, sir.
Which was huge, and this was also
Cece's meeting with some dead people. That's
wild.
Crazy.
Wild, yeah.
This was dated February 27th. This was literally like, I think the session Ragnar shot himself into the tourbillon. Or right before that, I don't remember. But yeah, so that is
well, just to be fair here, Davos shot me into the tourbillon. I told him to.
You're right. You're totally right. Oh my goodness.
Actually, technically, hold on. Ragnar didn't give him the go ahead. Hold on.
I was talked into it by you and Ragnar did, and I felt terrible, and we came back to get you, man. I'm sorry. I feel terrible about
it. This next one is a bit of a flashback cover story. Atop a colossal stone wall of red near cliffs perched high above the clouds, the sun shined brightly onto a lush and verdant patch of land surrounding Pangaea Castle and the Holy Land in the distance. A gargantuan hoist gradually lowered down an enormous naval ship with dozens of marines scrambling into position above and below deck. A procession of 6 well-dressed individuals wielding stern glares and sheathed ornate weaponry of various types surrounded a thin and tall man wearing a white suit and cloak with gold trim and a bubble helmet over an extravagant hairdo. Saint Soriard, it is our privilege and honor to escort you down to the Blue Sea. As the ranking officer on this year's North Blue surveillance expedition, I guarantee that your comfort and safety will be our utmost priority at all times. A loud gunshot echoed off of the red line and the deck of the ship, followed by an even more alarming period of silence. The naval officer crumpled from a stiff salute to a kneeling and hunched over mess, using one hand to keep from falling flat on his face as the other clutched his fresh entry wound. A dark red started to bleed out onto the cloak that read justice on the man's back, indicating that he was shot clean through. Much better. You and your crew will do well to kneel while speaking to me. Yes, sir. My mistake. It won't happen again. And this is the first time I put to be continued on a cover story, so that's huge. I need to go back and edit the rest of these, but yeah. Huge. This is obviously a nod to the surveillance teams that are out right now. Then we get the cover story that revealed that you guys were not alone in the bar, which was mostly for shock value, and I think it actually kind of freaks some of y'all out.
I read them just before the session.
Hey, especially
this was not,
those levels of exhaustion.
This was not released.
This one wasn't out before session.
This was one I specifically did not release to the server before session. I waited until at the very end of the session to post and read it live, because I know Dill be reading them. But yeah, that was very interesting. I won't spend too much time on that though. But yeah, they were partying and playing exploding dice with Holly, and that session was so goated because the exploding dice game was just so fun. I absolutely loved it, and Scarlet guessing a very low number and it still being it was actually crazy. I was a big fan of that whole that was straight fated, the fact that you guys got so much supplies and everything like that. It was really interesting. I loved that the social elements to that session as well. Jerry was answering a few of your questions and being what the hell happened. And the only thing I didn't like about that was the fact that Lord Azrael was not there, because I had mentioned I had set it up in the story before that as soon as you guys do return back to Port Scarletta, these two will be here waiting. And they had information and they knew that you guys basically what y'all look like because of the bounty posters, at least most of you, some of you. And they mentioned that the Fishman was not with you and they were contemplating not fighting right now, but they were nah, when else are we gonna get a chance like this? Because they had been looking for you guys for quite some time. So whether Lord Azrael was with or without you all, I already had this set up. I was gonna throw him at you, and unfortunately that meant it was a lot longer before Ragnar's character got reunited with the rest of the crew when he did. But again, that was never guaranteed that Ragnar's character would survive his whole ordeal. I did not pull punches. That Lord Azrael absolutely went through it, and so did you guys. So it was that was a crazy point in the story for me, but that cover story doesn't really set anything massive up. on the grand scheme of things, that just kind of set up the cliffhanger for that very peaceful session. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Then we get exterior. A Nusku flutters in the night sky, descending towards a cliff top below, with a scroll case gripped in both of its talons. The trade winds of the clockwise gyre carried it as far as it needed to go without so much as a single wasted flap of its wings. As it approached the structure, it began to beat its wings to break momentum and brace for landing. The tiny bird perched upon the 6-story window sill of a large fortified military base. It tapped on the window gently with a sequence of seemingly coordinated pecks, the rhythm of which was interrupted promptly by the opening of the glass window. Ah, and what news have you brought for me at this hour of the night? The aromas of perfume and liquor and the sounds of old jazz standards cascaded out of the window as a woman with pink hair who opened it sauntered off, away from the world below. The bird hopped into the chamber, and before its talons could hit the ground, a humanoid silhouette filled the frame of the window. A man in a suit and tie extended his legs down from the sill as a few loose feathers drifted towards the cobble. His footfalls were as silent as the expression on his face as was blank. He straightened his tie, cleared his throat, and offered the scroll case to a lady. "Ma'am, we have received a new budget from Tempest, and it seems that the surveyors have entered the north. It should only be a matter of time." And I remember Dill absolutely losing his mind at this cover story. You care to elaborate on that, brother?
Because the bird's human. The bird human, bro. The birds. They're government drones. So that played in very heavily with the fact of, normally news coups accept some sort of payment, and then we had a news coup that just dropped off the paper with us and left.
Trust nobody.
Maybe he's just feeling generous, bro.
This guy with his whole tinfoil straw hat. No, I'm here for it though. Then we get a follow-up cover story on a previous one. A tidy and well-maintained wooden dock can be seen stretching to line the entire western coast of an island. A mountain range splits the land in two, and where the ocean meets the mountain is a sprawling port with dozens of dry docks, piers, wharfs, platforms, and many large wooden buildings atop the water. The ebb and flow of the tides carry a ship with tattered sails to one of the many harbors, covered by the dark of night. The ship seems to be in great disrepair, and a balding man with his jaw on the floor and his eyes wide took in the sight with awe and disbelief. "Ain't no way. How's this old heap still afloat? You got some crazy luck, you know that? Keep quiet. I'll tell you all about it after we get her fixed up and offload the precious cargo. Is it just you? We've been spread pretty thin lately, not too many jobs for some reason, so we told a few of the apprentices to take the month off. What, am I not enough?" "Well then, it's good to know your head can be used as a flotation device in case of emergency." A man on board the ship whispered to the docks as he began tossing hefty crates overboard to the balding man. Their banter could barely be heard over the slapping of the waves against the dilapidated vessel. "Well, I'm sure that Tempest won't be able to compete with this merchandise. So your penny pinching days are about to be over, old man. You really think that this is that big of a deal? Well, I just told you I'm a bit strapped for cash, so don't try to oversell yourself to me. I can guarantee you that this stuff works. I sailed in from the New World straight through a calm belt to get here just to prove it." "Wait, you what? Keep it down." "You'll see. This product will make waves across every sea in no time. Now hurry up and hoist my ship. she was taking on a little water, and I'm not much of a shipwright, so I don't think the patch job will hold much longer. And so this was something that was completely brought up to Bang D Boom's attention last session with his social banter that he had, and this was put out 3 months ago. So there's a bit of a foreshadowing there as well. Kind of had that.
Wait, is that his ship that's in the dry dock?
Oh no, this is a completely different dry dock. So where you're at the college town right now, there is one dry dock. This description lists like dozens of dry docks. And if you recall in last session, it was mentioned that the
Where
black market
Azrael
connection
has all the dry docks.
Yeah, it was the black market connection was actually tied to Dill, where Big Azrael is from.
Yeah, okay.
And he mentioned that is like kind of tucked partly underneath the red line. Like that's like there's like it's like mountainous, and really all they're known for is just like their docks and stuff like that. Then we get another follow-up cover story. Okay, maybe you don't. Wow, true character development, yo. But
yeah, I only said maybe. Get ahead of yourself.
Then we get another follow-up cover story. Let me fix this. There we go. Interior, a regal and elegant chamber, as well maintained as it was decorated, lined with ornate tapestries and decor on each of the walls. The room was intricately divided up by labyrinthine bookshelves and study desks. Down the hall, a printing press could be seen in a workshop, next to stacks of stripped wood and a large mold and decal. A shorter man, dressed in a dapper fashion with a top hat and a monocle, rushed down the hallway with haste. "Stop the presses!" You know we're not a real newspaper, right? So cut that shit out. A taller, unamused fellow halted the machinery as they put their impatient hands on their hips, and they let out a lethargic sigh. "Yes, well, I've just always really wanted to say that." "Out with it. Why'd you make me stop mid-print?" "Well, you see, we've received orders to change the headline. Apparently, Morgan's has an even bigger scoop than we thought this time." "Is that so? Well, what do I do about all these copies?" "Well, I guess if the ink is still fresh, we might be able to wash them clean." I don't know why you're saying we, or why you took this stupid request in the first place. "The commander is paying very generously, not only for our flexibility of services and our discretion, but also for our swiftness. So please do hurry if you can." The shorter, dapper man tipped his hat as he slapped the newspaper article down on the workstation that the taller fellow was using. As the shorter gentleman hurried back down the hall towards the library, a young woman overheard a bit of the conversation while reshelving a collection of tomes. She tucked behind one of the bookshelves and hid as the gentleman rushed past. To be continued. Hey, yo, who could that be? Yeah, yo.
I was gonna ask if that was Cece's second cover story.
That
it would be. Indeed.
Yeah, maybe next session Cece will go into her conspiracies with you guys.
You know the tiny hat man.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie. See, there's a group of small people that live on the moon, but to get there first, you have to believe there's a moon.
Yeah. There's only one moon? What is that? What? No,
What are you on about?
Then we get another follow-up cover story. Interior, a large and quiet lecture hall with descending ramps leading inward and rows of desks lining the curvature in regular intervals. At the ground level, in the center stood a professor at a podium, while younger students were scattered throughout the seats. Welcome, new students. Basic aptitude test is being passed around to you all. This will only help the staff here to properly educate each of you this semester. Don't worry about it affecting your grade at all. There are no wrong answers and there is no time limit. Please take as much time as you need and feel free to come up and ask me any questions you might have. The results of this should determine which classes you are best suited for and where your individual strengths and weaknesses are, as well as your learning type. The average test taker finishes in about 2 hours. You may now begin. Several of the students began right away on the first part of the test, history, while one in particular seemed to get off to a very slow start. A bulky, younger man with an aggravated expression on his face and a strange hairdo that resembled a chestnut crumpled a page out of his test booklet and marched to the front podium. What's the big idea? Is this some kind of joke? Young man, please calm down. What seems to be the issue? More than a few students started gossiping back and forth as the teacher grabbed a transponder snail to call security. That's that Montblanc kid. You mean like Nolan the liar? Yikes. I bet he didn't even get past the first section. You'd think he'd know the history of our kingdom by now. He has to. I guess lying just runs in the family. Which
Chad
is
detected. Montblanc Nolan mentioned.
He's
My baby boy.
Chad.
I mean, redacted.
Chad detected. Oh my god. When we get another check-in on the Marines, in their correspondence or lack thereof with the Boeing Archipelago. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. This one's huge though. Interior, a firelit sandstone cave with cacti lining the mouth. Smoke billows out of the mouth as the glow bounced around the golden sand lining the floor. A larger gentleman with a tiny hat could be seen chewing on a cucumber sandwich while sitting next to a mustached man staring pensively into the fire. They both seemed discouraged and bloodied to the point of exhaustion and unenthusiastic about the whipping sandstorm outside of the cave. Across from them sat an elderly woman in a cloak tending to the fire and lecturing the two of them. I told you to not harm the one with the voice. She's more valuable to the government than both of you combined. We were given strict orders to leave no witnesses, ma'am. Well, you didn't even follow those orders either. From what I hear, I've been working for over half of my life to unearth the secrets of this desert and keep it out of the hands of filthy pirates, and I won't let you or your silly commander get in my way now. Well, she's still alive, isn't she? We could help you find a little golden goose, but you have to help us take out this pesky redhead. Does that sound like a deal? The mustached man clenched his fist as his rotund partner bargained with the witch. His gaze shot deep into the campfire burning before them, but a glare from the light of the dancing flame reflected off of the shining metallic features of the hag's burnt face as she began to grin. You're in luck. I like to work alone usually, but I'm unfamiliar with what's beyond the mountains in recent years, and I've got a bone to pick with the Scarlet Pirates.
Just for the record, she's been traveling with a group for, a long time. I don't think she likes to work alone.
None of the nomads know what the fuck she's up to, though. So there's that.
Yeah, she's giving Mother Caramel. She's giving Mother Caramel vibes,
That's what I'm saying. Depends on how long she was working undercover. The nomad shit could have been just a stint of her career doing something else.
But hey, don't worry. Operation Backdoor Baba is back in action,
Man,
what
good
you
old
mean? I thought it was
Baba.
Operation Flame. I thought it was Operation Flame Baba.
No, that was actually an accident, which was kind of funny. To
He said it's kind of funny.
be honest, it was kind of funny. But I mean, hey, if she's looking for some get back, then she clearly needs to be dealt with. Or we
It's
can just
actually
run
hilarious.
blindly.
Well, she's got the spondum treatment going on right now. It's like the metal face or whatever. Like you guys did fuck her up, but the job ain't done.
I need to put her on that Spandine treatment. Put her in a hospital bed with some sickness.
Then we get a send-off cover story for the full casualties of the Cypher Pole incident at Port Scarletta, which is very sad.
Alright, we don't need to cover it. It's sad.
Yep. And then we get another cover story, kind of like pumping up like the fact that celestial dragons could be here any day. And it actually gives us a bit of a look at the interior of the palace. We don't need to spend too much time on that either. And then I think the most recent cover stories, there's one that refers to our friends, the hairy merchant fellow, who you guys gave glass weapons to, overcoming. You remember they felt pretty confident in their abilities, and yeah, this guy, he's just been, anytime pirates try to like fuck him up, he just fights back, and he wants to give the entire world to his beloved son Harry. No relation to the other Harry, though.
Of course.
But that guy is kind of legit. He's got connections to Spider Miles, and is also knows a thing or two about the archipelago. And he also mentioned Davenport to you all, which is like a pirate mecca, according to it's been brought up to you guys like a couple times actually. So you guys have heard of the archipelago, of Spider Miles, of Flavance, of Davenport, of Deul, many different places in the north that you guys have kind of been hearing little bits and pieces about, if y'all have been paying attention throughout a lot of the cover stories, NPC interactions, newspapers, and things like that. So that's like a lot of these islands that you kind of see on this map right here. Not all of them are kingdoms proper, but some of them obviously are. Some of them are just like places, but like not every place is a kingdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Wizard Hat Island.
Wizard Hat Island is not canon, Lucas. I'm sorry. I love that name though, but
it's canon in our hearts, like Sniper Island,
Exactly.
And then the last most recent cover story from last session was just going over basically how crazy dangerous it is to try to go up Reverse Mountain and enter into the Grand Line. Which you guys could do at any point in time if you get a little bit more supplies and just head straight there. But I don't know if that's your prerogative, but that is an option. You're currently at one of, if not the closest place to Reverse Mountain in the north. But you do know that you're about a month out, based off of just sea charts and whatnot. So that brings us up to current in the Scarlet Pirates, like all of the session recaps, all of the World Economic newspaper clippings, as well as the cover stories. And hopefully this stream has served a purpose to kind of get you all current and up to date as far as everything that happened in the north half, and before that when we're in Calvaria, and like the void sessions and things like that. Mostly focused a lot on the Red Sand Desert, but now we are here on the south half of Liv Neal. Spent a little bit of time at Liv Neal University at L'Ecole and showed some Gemhide pride, and then we have made our way to the Chateau de Papier. But yeah, that's everything I had. So if anybody else has anything they want to like talk about and spit, anything else they want to say, feel free, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I think this is a great time for the Scarlet Pirates as a crew. You know, on the verge of a new crewmate, had some time to like delve into the lore of. We gotta spend like a week here or something like that. So you know, we can delve into some of the roleplay stuff instead of delving straight into combat. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. You guys have a bit of a track, or some of you have a bit of a track record, but yeah,
it's true. I am currently planning to steal like what seems to be a town's heir, so you know that's why I say hopefully.
Yeah, above table, basically there's like a prototypical sea prism stone that could be on its way here. Not a lot of it, but some of it. Maybe in about a week and a half or so, according to Bang D Boom's ear to the ground. You know, the fact that he's like a, you know, Water 7 affiliated. This guy lost his mind when he said that, so good call there. Also, Lord Azrael is creating Batman villains to try to take out the reigning champion of a fishing competition that the next fishing competition will be in about a week. I see Ragnar unmuted. You want to add anything to that?
Just like the great Bane said, I was born in the dark. He was merely molded by it.
Absolutely wild. I loved improving some of those like dock workers and stuff like that. Still my favorite one is the straight space cadet who was just like, you know, when you think about it, you're never not on the ocean. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
He can't be on the clock right now. He is torched.
Immediately followed up by Lord Azrael and Samia walking up above, like back to the top of the like map where you guys were, and he passes by the dude scrubbing dicks off the tortoise, and that guy's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's just like, "Leave me alone, weirdo." That was one of my favorite like moments, like series of moments in last week's session. It was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, about a week needs to take place for that. Another week needs to take place for the thing that Bang D Boom and Lord Azrael had both heard about, you know, some potential future plot hooks and things like that, and events to occur then. And then the rest of you guys had kind of heard about some of the school ongoings. You didn't really get too much of like a vibe. You just know that like if you can't really access the library, you need to get like you need to go there. And probably the single funniest individual joke and moment from the session was Dill doing the whole "she doesn't even go here." Like, that shit was classic.
That was cracking me up.
Yeah. And then and we also now
or unintentionally Big Azrael. Yeah, I went to college. Nobody in the crew expected that.
Yeah, that was actually, there's so many good moments. That was like such an enjoyable session to timestamp. And so if you want to go catch all of those moments, there are chapters on that video now. You can go click to the best bits. But yeah, hopefully, like, I did intend on making Lecole and Live Near You being like, I meant them to be like a bit of like a hub, so that, like, you know, obviously it's not easy, and Davos knows this, to just get like slip in and out of the capital, because it's behind massive like walls, and there's like not only a royal presence but also like marines and things like that. So like, it's not so easy to just get in and out whenever you please and, like, you know, leave and come back and make a base there. But this is like a bit of a hub where you guys can kind of like dip in and dip out, and like, so I'm glad you guys didn't immediately burn the entire place down and fight everyone in town. That was really cool, you know. You love to see it.
Hey, we're
We've
growing
come a
as
long
group.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. He said we've come a long way. But
No, what you mean,
clearly
they're just lucky we plan to be there for more days than just Sunday.
so we will assume that because loose lips do in fact sink ships, and people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and all those other idioms and whatnot, through this drinking stretch that the Scarlet Pirates shared with Cece, their newly met acquaintance, while she was cooking food, we will pick up next week with a actual gameplay, like a session, not just a recap. And some of the events of tonight will in fact be canon, and we will kind of reestablish those at the start of next session. And Cece, you'll be a little bit more knowledgeable on just who the Scarlet Pirates are. You can kind of react in real time with some of the knowledge that they've given you, and give them whatever knowledge you feel like you might want to based off of what you know already. So that's exactly where we're gonna pick up next time. Said what knowledge? Is that what you just said?
No, I said what math, as I just took 3 con saves and didn't fail.
You failed all 3.
Fail. Oh,
okay, but you failed all 3. He said didn't fail. I'm like,
but I haven't
homie,
critically failed.
Those are all single digits, brother. Like...
No. I'm saying, like, I get that I failed, because obviously my entire point in this entire thing was to fail the con saves, because my character wanted to get drunk. But
Yeah, I failed on
above
purpose.
that,
No.
above that, that's why I gave myself a disadvantage on them, because after breaking the seal, like you had said, I was like, yeah, my character's just trying to get drunk at this point.
Homie's wasted.
You are a flat 6.
Bro, that's the thing.
But yeah, these pirates can sure drink a lot. And Lucas, I hope you remember what kind of happened in your session 0, as that could be maybe important information. Yeah, that could be maybe important information as well. But we will pick up with the continuation of that discussion as you all get ridiculously drunk and flap your gums at each other, and maybe share a bit of a meal once we have the future pirate queen with us, the captain herself, who unfortunately could not be here in the call with us. But we saw you in the chat earlier, Balincc. Major shout out to you, and can't wait for next week. This was a lot of fun, and I think it's like again, I really hope that this stream serves the purpose to anybody who feels like it's too daunting to get through the 32 previous sessions and whatnot. I hope that this seems like a bit of like an entry point. Like, obviously I don't want you to skip all of the content that I have here available, but like just this kind of, hopefully this makes this like a little bit more of an approachable gameplay series where we play like a really cool One Piece D&D adventure in the North Blue 24 years in the past. Like, I really want more people to be able to get into not just One Piece D&D, but obviously our campaign. And so I've been wanting to do something like this for a really long time, and I would love to know like what theories obviously some of you guys have based off of some of the things that I've been foreshadowing and have foreshadowed in the cover stories. Obviously Dill doesn't trust any birds. Yeah. Like,
yeah, I don't trust any birds either.
I feel the same as Ingrid from group 3.
Bruh. But yeah, a lot of shit has been being built up and is in the process or about to be potentially paid off on, and that's huge. We love that for y'all. Can't wait to start, like, it's kind of like a really big turning point for the campaign as a whole. So I'm super excited for everything that is about to come. And again, I don't like to control like what you guys do. I just kind of dangle plot hooks in front of you, like tons of them, and whichever ones you guys kind of go for, that dictates the story as we know it. And like I said, like I never could have expected that, you know, torimori missing one session would have spun off to like a whole, like I think like 17 plus session like side quest to, you know, Operation Slide for Davos turned into take down the entire Glasshouse Pirates, turned into go save Lord Azrael, turned into let's get the fuck off of this half of the island, you know, like and like that kind of like so many crazy things have happened, and it's so fun to see where all you guys take it, because it's truly a sandbox. And if it ever feels like I'm railroading you guys, I'm so sorry. I try really hard to not do that. It's truly like do whatever, and you know, like it's in the South we say it's fuck around and find out, but you know, like it's you know, you can go and leave no stone unturned and like go and do all of these and try and 100% things. There's always going to be more. So like there's still 2 whole other deserts on the north half that were not like explored, and like there's still not things that we truly understand about the Red Sand Desert, and like that's fine. Homie's going through it. But it's really interesting to me to see like you guys kind of like carve the path out in front of you, like wherever you choose to go in a way, and like that kind of like helps me figure out like where the story is going, but like I never know. I know where it could go. I don't ever really know like what's next though, so I'm super excited for all of that. And yeah, just like to
wait for you to find out that it's not going to be a sandbox next session. It's not even going to be a pirate session. It's going to be entrepreneur simulator.
Oh god, boo, get off the stage. We already did that.
That's where you're mistaken. We're pirates. We don't need to be entrepreneurs. We just have to run pockets and go about our merry way, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to bring up whenever Vex was like, yeah, the run of Slide for Davos became take down the whole glass house. I was like, no, it was Slide for Davos, then it was Slide for the pockets.
Oh yeah,
it was a really big
opportunity. We're gonna take over the library and start making business there.
Yeah, I'm stealing
okay.
that.
It's not just a library though, guys. It's also a museum. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I am so hype. And again, I have no clue what's going on. So I'm just like frantically making like maps that I might not ever use and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. And so I really liked kind of highlighting some of that in this, because like, I don't know, it's like you guys thank me all the time, and I love that. I thank you for thanking me and just for being a part of it and for showing up every week when we can, and like for being a part of it for as long as we all have and stuff like that. But like I was watching an interview between like Brennan Lee Mulligan and Sam Reich, like 2 really, really fantastic personalities. Brennan's one of my favorite DMs ever, and I am nothing compared to like what he can do in certain like aspects and things like that, but I try to like listen to some of the advice that he gives and stuff like that. And it's so funny because he said in an interview recently that like in the DM seat, your whole job is to just basically take L after L after L after L, because I want you guys to all succeed, but it doesn't feel like that, you know, like when I'm gaming with the Scarlet Pirates. So truly goated campaign, goated crew, just nothing but love to all of you in the chat and to all of the homies here in the call with me. And like for real, I cannot even begin to describe to you how much it means as like somebody who doesn't have a lot of constants in life. I've had such a crazy year with so many different things going down and up and things like that and all around. This has been just like a huge W, and so I'm super happy for that. Can't wait for literally however many more sessions, you know what I mean? We're only at level 6. I'll take you guys like to level 20 and beyond if we can all keep it together and keep pushing along this campaign. And who knows, maybe you guys will get that One Piece one of these days. But
Hopefully,
Yeah.
I still can make it to level 20, but I know it's not in the cards. But I would still love to be attached with the crew until level 20.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
sure.
I'm in it for the long haul too. Session
yeah.
1120, anybody? Session 1120?
Right.
What happened?
Oh my god, yes, let's
We
go.
are in One Piece.
Crazy. Oh my goodness. But yeah, again, that's all I had. I've got a few closing notes as far as like the other shit that I've got going on other than just group 2. But if anybody else wants to plug anything really quickly, I know Mikey's Men just had session 4. Do we have any word on when 5 will be?
Unfortunately, locked in just yet. We are on a little bit of a longer wait. The next this week and next week off for sure. But we will at least have one session in July, so definitely stay tuned for more news on Group 14, which, as always, is hosted over on Strawhatlucas' channel. Much love to him and all my players on the Sakura Pirates crew. You guys are awesome, and definitely go check out all the VODs, catch up on everything there. As for Group 2, though, guys, this is I love these strolls down memory lane type of streams that we do. I like the more chilled back time to look back, and I mean, I echo kind of the same sentiment as you, Vex. These Tuesdays are something I really look forward to, and much love to the Scarlet Pirates. Like, y'all rule so hard. Lucas, so glad you're here to join us. Bang, Pete, it's been awesome since you rolled up through at Port Scarletta. Dill, I mean, pretty much the same thing back when it was called something a lot less cool. And of course, my day one, Lord Azrael, who literally fell out of the sky into Davos's life and saved him from probably a pretty boring pirate career with the Crackerjack crew.
Oh my god.
Shout out Vice Captain Gumo, though. And of
he's
course,
still
I
out
want to
there.
give a ton of... Dude, I cannot wait for that reunion. That's gonna be like our Kobe. We'll be like, Gumo? What the
Oh my god.
No, so it's pretty uneventful. He was gonna be a pirate in the fucking Calm Belt. Let's keep that in mind. Before
That was hungover.
Lord
Hold
Azrael
on.
dropped on the
That
ship.
was hungover Davos's fault, though.
If they still would have been
Very
going into the
hungover.
Calm Belt, by the
Yeah.
time that he sobered up, they would have been just sober in a Calm Belt, which is infinitely worse than drunk in a Calm Belt.
Oh my goodness. But yeah,
I actually see your point.
but yeah, 2 weeks at least until next session for Group 14. No sweat. That just means more time for more individuals to catch up. It is such a fun crew. We absolutely love the Sakura Pirates here. What is it? Group 14 beats them.
Mikey's Men mutilates.
Mikey's Men mutilates.
Mikey's Men mutilates is the one they go for. I personally love Mikey's Men beats them.
Beats them. But yeah, it's
alliteration with mutilates just too good.
It's a fun ride over there, and you can catch Strawhatlucas as Captain Lead Belly, and you can actually also catch Brother Ragnar as Lord Abyss over in that setting where Mikey takes the reins as the DM. He's been doing a fantastic job. I really enjoyed the catch up and actually got to experience it live for the first time last session, and I'm going to be doing that much more. Then we've got Brother Dill. Why don't you tell us about what TLA's got going on tomorrow?
So, we don't have a chapter this week, obviously, unfortunately. So we got SBS review and last week's chapter. We're going to be discussing that as well because we got the officials that have come out. So we got a little bit of time to cook on that. We're going to have that tomorrow at, I believe, 3 p.m. EST. Come check
Sounds
out
about
what's
right.
going on.
Sounds about right. Yep.
So, also we got on Dire Regulus' channel on Saturday at like 6:15 to 20 EST. We got Group 3 because Group 3 clears.
That's true.
We
I've
got
heard
them.
that.
Come on.
I've heard that as well.
We just got out of a combat as well. Got 2 Hagen. Begun our deal proceedings last session and basically devised up the crew separation. Come check out Born putting some drugs in some people's food.
Wild.
Come check out Murdoch dropping a king's head in some water that's all connected sewage and plumbing lines. Come also check out I think Chuma is going in the group to rescue Nui. But I know Yiga is. And Ingrid's going to go visit her family because she's from that island. So come pop out and see what happens.
Then we've got Strawhatlucas. You obviously gonna be a part of the TLA stream tomorrow. What else you've got going on other than Mikey's Men and tomorrow's stream? I know Rambling Addiction's been popping off, right?
Yes, sir. No new episode of Rambling Addiction this week, but make sure you check out next week. I will be back with an episode on Batman films. I'm going to be pitching my own idea for a Batman trilogy, just something fun I want to do. But this Thursday, actually, since we don't have a Sakura Pirates stream, I will be streaming a live reaction to Gachia Kuta. I'm on about chapter 25 right now. I'm hoping to get caught up by the end of the stream, so it's going to be a long one. But yeah, that all starts at 6 p.m. EST on the Strawhatlucas YouTube channel.
Hell yeah, brother. Can't wait.
Cool. Make sure you got notifications turned on for his channel so that way you can pop out.
Yeah, hit that little bell icon.
Notification. No, I was gonna say links in the description for all of these things we've been plugging. Make sure you go check that out. And then if Ragnar or Pete had anything that you wanted to plug, feel free. I see Ragnar says we're waffling. Nah, this is the session for that, okay? Like
Oh, I got nothing to plug really. My Isekai campaign should start this month, but I don't think I'm streaming it, so I'll let y'all know how it goes if you can't watch it.
If y'all want to know how it goes, along with all the other secret D&D sessions that you do not have access to but are fully canon inside this One Piece world, repent and give yourself over to Davy Loans. He's the one true way to finally boost your credit score.
Boost your credit score. Dude, oh my god. Yeah, this all did really start when Ragnar's character stole coins out of Davy Back Alley. Let's set all of this in motion, really.
I don't blame him. Like, why would you not take coins?
I mean, so
it's freaking cursed, dog.
Let's be 100% honest, okay? I am
they're just
so
lame.
glad that Bang and Lord Azrael did not end up going to the cult, because as soon as Vex laid out as the DM that there were literal fountains and wells that had just coins lining in them, I'm like, okay, I'm so glad that they did not come with us, because they would be trying to go down there and collect all that fucking gold right now.
100%.
He said 100%.
Well,
Are you sure you guys are bandits?
definitely chill, bro. Definitely show it for next session. It's gonna be a fun one. I think just like the last. Loving the vibes lately ever since we got out of survival mode and started being a little bit more social. We've also just recently, if you want to catch me and other things that I'm doing, I'll be trying to make it for the full length of tomorrow's TLA stream. So you can catch me there. You can also catch me in a watch party in my server, where we'll be watching the second episode of Never Stop Blowing Up tomorrow. I believe the first episode will be added to YouTube, as all Dimension 20 things do. They get the first episode, but you're only going to get the one if you're YouTube only. The rest will be dropout exclusive. So I'm doing the watch parties in my server. If you don't want to, spring for dropout and still want to be a part of the fun, come on by. It's hilarious. I have been looking forward to it ever since last Wednesday. It's so good.
It was amazing.
So I'm super hyped for that, and you'll catch a lot of these homies there as well, and we're just kind of vibing. Then TLA Gaming has now moved to Mondays, and Tree the Wolf and I just got through chapter 1 of Trails in the Sky SC, the second game in the series, and it's so good. I cannot even begin to describe to you how amazing the end of chapter 1 was. I'm so excited, and I have no idea how long the game is or what to expect next, but hype. I can't wait. Then what else do I got going on? Oh, look forward to the return of Cody 8. Cody 8 what? Cody 8 is D&D. DM'd by SSJ8 Cody himself in the chat. We love you, Cody. And that will be returning on the 11th on his Twitch, also linked in the description. I am so excited to be a player in a D&D game again, and I'm very hyped for that. So it's been a long time that we've been on break since summoning Shenron and like making our wishes off the Dragon Balls. So it's gonna be a pretty this is a One Piece campaign, by the way, guys. If none of that makes sense, go check the VODs on his YouTube channel. But also gonna be a part of some of Cody's read-throughs of some of the manga that he's got going on. I know he plans on reading Kagurabachi soon, and I'm current on JJK now. So we're going to be trying to do like a JJK reads as well. I'll be joining him on his Sunday stuff on his channel from time to time when I can make it. So much love for Cody. And I think that's all of the stuff that I've got going on right now. And yeah, now we will officially stop waffling, Ragnar. Again,
I have one more thing to waffle. No.
Bruh. Cannot say it enough. Check all the links in the description for all of these things. Support all of the homies over at TLA and all of the people here in this call. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. But it's been real. Have a good rest